all the languages across the country, and he saw how it turned out that he got a zero vote. By that I mean that somebody like Dr. Bonayono, for instance, whose antecedent is better known, should have been a rallying point for all the other aspirants from the South. I'm not saying he doesn't have his nuances or his shortcomings or his shortfalls, but if the Southeast started this agitation, give it to us. Where is the justice? Is this our turn? And they were, and you didn't find the likes of Odjus of Carlo, for instance, and doesn't a slave president Ahmed Lawan, and even saying, look, let it be that if any other part of the South should take it apart from the Southeast, let this power return to the North. You read the statement, of course, Odjus of Carlo issued before the primaries, far long before the primaries, justifying why it should be Southeast or no other Southern should be supported by the Southeast. I mean, I give it that apart from somebody in the mode of Dr. Bonayono, who did not also trust his antecedents, who also have garnered vast range of experiences, first as former Aba governor and all that, that I didn't see the likes of Umahi, for instance, as being real contenders in the race. Give it to him that he got 38 votes from the delegates from Ebonyi, as it were. Cut across the Southeast, many elites in the Southeast would not rally around Umahi, even if he had the APC representative. That's the truth. That's the fact. Why? Because of his antecedents.
Okay.
The agitators in the Southeast, IPOB and others, are all a lot of issues that people expected him as a governor, for instance, being the Southeast Governors Forum chairman, to lead discussions around.
Okay.
But that didn't happen. We didn't see that happen.
Okay. I want to go
in all of it.
Quickly, I'll come back to you. Let me go to Achike. Achike, from all of the things that Charles is saying, he's trying to say that maybe the Southeast is the problem of the Southeast. Or maybe the Southeast, the South-South, and of course the Middle Belt are their own problems. What are your thoughts? Achike, I think you're muted. Achike, can you hear me? I think that you're muted and you need to unmute yourself. Can you hear me? Okay, I'm going to try one more time. All right, I'm going to toss back to Charles. Charles, so just like Tony Prince-Will has said, that we need to learn a lesson in unity. If the call for the Southeast and the power needs to return to the South, and the Southeast was saying, give us a chance at this presidency. I mean, the sound of that call was very loud. But then when we look at how much work was put in to also back that call, there seems to be zero. And that's why I asked the question I asked to Achike, could it be that the Southeast is the problem of itself? And could that be detailed for the Southwest, the South-South and the Middle Belt?
Thank you. If Achike is not back, I can
Go ahead.
Make a brief remark on that. Mm-hmm. The problem about the Southeast, apart from the lack of unity among the leaders of the Southeast, Ohanaeze Ndigbo, as the largest socio-political, socio-cultural organization in the Southeast, made bulldog in the whole exercise, both in the PDP and the APC. You cannot continue to issue press statements. These are your sons, these are your fathers, these are your friends, these are your leaders. And there was no platform to bring these aspirants together to say, look, you saw the running point, you saw the way the Southwestern aspirants, you saw the number of times Tinubu was able to rally around the Southwestern aspirants in the presidential race of APC. You saw Ekiti State Governor, you saw a lot of them rallying around. Remember that, yes, one good or the other have been done then by Asiwaju Bola Tinubu during the time he was in power. You didn't see that happen in the Southeast. And I'm saying it's a big lesson for us because why we should be at the receiving end Why we take knocks on our other southern brothers for not even withdrawing from the race? I want to say that power is never given by taking. That is a well-known established political principle. It is never said in politics that it is the turn of this people, every other person goes to sleep. So for the Southeast, first is to blame is Ohanaeze Ndigbo. The Ohanaeze Ndigbo socio-cultural group were only backing, and there was no force, not even a meeting. Never did we hear that the Ohanaeze Ndigbo Union, as an organization, called the aspirants together to say, look, this is the person who thinks the cap will fit most, and the rest of Nigeria will rally around. Please, let's go to this towards this direction. We didn't see that happen, and that is why I said, and I am repeating it, that why we blame the Southwest for coming once again after 16 years in power to take what we think belongs to us. But we didn't do our work. Our leaders did not do their best. We didn't put our best foot forward, and that is the exact truth.
Okay, I think Achike is back. So let me come to Achike. Achike, I want to know: are there lessons that need to be learned? Just as I asked Charles at the beginning, and again, looking at what he said, and even what Toye is saying about the banding together of our societies in the southeast, in the south, and in the middle belt. What could you possibly think is responsible for us not uniting or even coming together and banding behind ours, just as we see the other zones do? Achike, are you still there? Achike, can you unmute yourself so that we can hear you? I do not know if you have an earpiece. Maybe you have to take that out so that we can hear you. Unfortunately, we can see you talking, but we can't hear you. Well, we'll take a quick break and fix that, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges. The growing youth population with little engagement, that is a ticking time bomb. We are a blessed people with diverse culture and highly cerebral minds who have a lot to say. And yes, we are talking. It is important we drive the right conversation that informs, inspires, influences thought and action. If we say there's beauty in our diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture. We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation as we are the hope for the future. Yesterday's conversations shape today. What are you saying to shape your tomorrow? We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
It's still Plus Politics, and we have been looking at the takeaways from the APC, a special convention that produced the former governor of Lagos State, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And of course, looking at the comparisons that have been drawn by a Rivers State politician, saying that there are lessons to be learned from both the APC and the PDP primaries for not just the Southeast, but the South-South and the Middle Belt. And still discussing with us is Charles Otu and Achike Chude, both political analysts. Now, Achike, thank goodness you're back. So I don't want to rephrase or re-ask the question, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think the Tonye Prince-Will did not establish the context for which he made that statement. There should have been a context because he just made the statement. If you look at the political history of this country, I think it's obviously wrong, unless he's talking about recent political history, in the sense that the Southeast was never in the mix, in the frame of things when it comes to president from the South. Southeast was never in the mix. Southeast has not contributed anything significant to the APC as a political party. Of course, Southeast is more the enclave of the PDP, and the PDP has done very well in the Southeast all this while. So it was always going to be very difficult. And if you're looking at equity, if you're looking at politics and then dishing out favors or patronage, on the basis of work that has been done, on the basis of achievements that have been done for the party, and then the presidency would obviously go to the Southwest, because the Southwest made, to a large extent, their involvement in 2015 made it gave power to the APC at the center, not the Southeast. And so from that perspective, I think the Southeast did not deserve the presidency. But if you're talking about the PDP, I would make that case and say, yes, the PDP ought to have produced a presidential candidate from the Southeast, of course, but that is a completely different thing. So from that perspective, the Southeast or the South-Side did not deserve the presidency of this country, if that is the basis for allocating political positions. That's one. Then two, again, if we are talking about maybe the Southwest being playing politics better, and then you can only say that has happened in the Southwest only in the past 7 years, and that the Southeast has played politics better, and perhaps the South-South, all this while in terms of its alliances with the North, because it has always been the Southeast and the South-South that have been in alliance with the North all of these years. The only time the Southwest went into an alliance with past segments of the North was in 2015. When the APC was formed, and the Southwest has benefited from that. So we must, look at these things, in perspective. But beyond that is the fact that, again, for the APC to have given the presidency to the Southeast, it would have meant that the Southwest would have forfeited their ambition for the presidency. And of course, that is not going to happen, because power is never given, it is taken. Mm-hmm. And then, one other, area, I want to look at is the fact that it's unfortunate that we find ourselves talking about presidency to Southeast, presidency to Southwest and South-South and so on. What the impression one has is that this is just an elitist game, and that is actually what it is. Because if you look at what has happened with the presidency of this country in the past 7 years and at previous times, the country remains marred in all kinds of socio-economic, political contradictions. So like I said, it's just the past 7 years that you could say that the Southwest played a politics that has favored it at this particular time. But if we should have any level of disappointment, it should be with the PDP and not with the APC, because it was the PDP that was supposed to have an obligation to the Southeast on the basis of the fact that the Southeast has not enjoyed the presidency for quite some time. For a long time, we've never. And then the fact that the Southeast has contributed handsomely, to the PDP over the years from 1999 to date, mm-hmm. and has gotten nothing, at this particular point in time. So it's not a combination of Middle Belt, Southeast, and then the South-South. I think it had everything to do with one man's ambition, and that is Atiku's ambition to become president. And so, the right kind of political consideration that should have been given to the Southeast was obviously not given to the southeast. But don't forget the north also. It's just about not even the southwest or southeast or south-south. The entire south has to come together to act as a counterweight, political counterweight to the north. Now you have the southwest that is divided with, the south that is divided with the southwest going, with the APC and all that. So ultimately, in terms of the proper balance of power that is needed to check the excesses of one region against the other, we do not have that in the south. And so I think that there should be a more meaningful relationship within the south.
Okay.
The three regions of the south and the parts of the south, the middle belt that are sympathetic also to the south.
Let's look at, still talking about the southeast, let's look at the message of Ogbonnaya Onu on that day while he was trying to present, his case for presidency. Although he also said that he played a huge role, in the emergence of the APC. He said he had to forego his presidency and presidential ambition at some point to let two Southwesterners emerge. And he said, I'd like to rephrase that, he thinks that it would have been better that Mr. President would have handed over power. The choice of words may not be necessarily great because, of course, it's debatable that he should be obviously handing over to somebody from the southeast. And he kept saying, where is the justice? It takes me back to the question that I asked. We keep saying that we want power in the southeast. Power should come to the southeast. Asking for justice and working to get that justice are two different things. And this is where Tonye was coming from. The likes of the Tinubus of this world had been laying the bridge and foundation for what happened that day at the Eagle Square compared to us in the other zones.
Look, the reality is that within the APC, there was really no serious contender from the southeast. Because it's not, about shouting for justice. It's not about say, laying claims to the fact that the Southeast needs a presidency or deserves a presidency. It's also about the work you do. And I agree with my, colleague there. It is also about the work you do. It's also about your state of readiness. They were not ready. And they were not ready perhaps because they knew that they had not done enough to take the presidency of this country. And they had not. Who are you going to? What did, for instance, Nnamani, apart from, the very little role that the Southeast has played within the APC, which is not enough to give them that recognition for the presidency. Then you talk about the individual contributions of some of these people. Kenan Nnamani, Ogbonnayan, Umahi, who has been in PDP all this while, but moved not too long ago to the APC. So what did anybody actually expect from them? There was really nothing that could have been expected. When you talk about politics for the sake of politics, then the person who had worked most from the region that had done the most deserved the presidency of, to run, for the candidacy of the APC, and that was the Southwest. Obviously, that is what it is really, So obviously, a lot needs, to be done. I think that the best opportunity for the Southeast was via the PDP, which a lot of people have talked about. We even had Afenifere in Lagos talking about the Southeastern presidency. We had the parts of the Middle Belt and even Pandev from the South talking about Southeast presidency. So I think that the Southeast was shortchanged, especially under the platform of the PDP and not under the platform of the APC. Because the APC does not have any serious major inroad in the Southeast. And so they had no obligation. But I think that PDP had an obligation. And it is not just about the work, that the Southeast did. It was about equity and justice. After all, what work did Obasanjo do before he became president? What work did the Southwest do to make the Obasanjo presidency possible? They didn't do much work. But it was as a result of the crisis created by the annulment of the June 12, 1993 election, which deprived the Southwest of a presidential candidate, or a president of this country, MK Abiola. So the political elites in the country, especially those up north, sat back and said, look, for us to have stability in the system, in this country, we must ensure that justice is done to the Yorubas because of the death of Abiola and the deprivation of Abiola from the presidency of this country, even for an election that he won. So that was why they got together and gave it to Obasanjo. Obasanjo was not electable. Obasanjo has visibility in the country. Obasanjo has serious name recognition. But Obasanjo does not have political constituencies. He does not have political structures. He was in prison and did not know work. That work was done for Obasanjo. So that was what happened. So even if you look at Jonathan, for instance, Jonathan did not have any serious constituency. He didn't have political structures in place. But it was decided that he had to go to Jonathan, to the South and to Jonathan, and the political elites concerned did the work for Jonathan. So, it is also about recognizing that, look, this is the time for these people, and then the work will be done, and there will be consensus. That is what is called elitist bargaining.
Okay. All right. Back to you, Charles, before we wrap things up. How long will it take for the Southeast to come of age? Because whether it be politicking, whether it be coming to together for a certain cause. We saw what happened, I think, last year during the Ohaneze elections. That was the beginning of, the disintegration of sorts within the group. We saw even politicians, governors, step into that forum, and then we saw the divisions that happened. But when will the Southeast come of age to a point where, just like Achike has said, that, it's time for power to go to these people, and then they be ready to receive it, structures or no structures, but then, of course, a sense of readiness. How soon or how long will it take for that to happen?
Thank you very much. Thank you, my co-guest, Mr. Achike. He has read part of what I was coming to, and that is the fact that the elite's manipulative theory has always been used against the Southeast. It is a theory in international diplomacy and politics that makes it difficult. It's just like what he said. If there is no moral suasion on the part of the North, and the North keeps seeing a divided South as their own advantage, until this changes, the Southeast will never come of age. Not that we don't have the best of materials. Look at somebody like Peter Obi. People know his antecedents, they know the records, they know what he has done. Peter Obi has already become a revolution in the PVC registration and collection in the entire country because of people that believe in his antecedents and policies. Now, back to your question again, it is the North. It is the North. The North holds the ace. Like Mr. Achike said, when Obasanjo was given consideration under the PDP in 1999, he was in the prison. Obasanjo, in records of our political history, did not win his word in Abeokuta. He didn't win. Yet the North rallied the entire North for him, for peace to reign. And the Southeast, as Southeasterners, we are now asking, is it too much for the North to consider, for the sake of what the Southeast has gone through, for the sake of the civil wars and all the other factors that have come into play against the Southeast in the political history of this country? Is it too much for the North to also run around the Southeast? Is it too much for justice, which Dr. Bonano asked for, to be done? Is it too much for the other parts of the country, particularly the North? When I say the North, people are now reducing the Northern narrative to say, the Northeast has not taken its turn. In as much as this narrative is correct, we know really what a Southeastern presidency, in the mode of a P2B, for instance, would have done to the country. We know what it will do to the economy, especially if the PDP, whom we have given so much to, returned it back in kindness to us, to say, look, Obi, whether you have money to share or not, we trust that you become a rallying force to return us to power.
All right.
Until this is done, the Southeast is far. And also to my Southeastern brothers, I want to also add my voice once again to say that politics has always been defined ostensibly as a game of who takes what, when, and how. If you're not ready to take politics in this ostensive definition, you are not in the game. You're just dancing around. You just want to be recognized. Okay. And I believe that most of the leaders for the Southeast who were in this race were in to be recognized because they did no work and they expected results. Thank you very much.
Well, I want to say thank you, gentlemen. Unfortunately, our time is fast spent. Chike Chude and, of course, Charles Tu are both political analysts. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for having this conversation with me. All right. Well, thank you all for staying with us. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we discuss the affairs of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, as Dumebi Kachiku beats Kingsley Moghalu and Chukwuka Moye in its presidential primaries. We'll be right back.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on Plus TV Africa, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
So what are the top decisions that the United States considers necessary that Nigeria must take? I like to think of my interactions as conversations, not interviews. And that's why I say asking questions is both an art and a science. Everyone says in Islam, you are allowed to have 4 wives. Is it mandatory? The right question enables answers that educate, inform, clarify, and help you, the viewer, to better understand the issue before making up your mind.
Our goal is to reduce from 10 to 2 days the time it takes to register businesses in Nigeria.
Join me every week on this station, Plus TV Africa, and gain exclusive access to my conversations. I'm Angela Ajetumobi.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Right, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV. Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
It's still Plus Politics. Now, the presidential ticket for the African Democratic Congress ADC party for the 2023 general elections was picked by Dumebi Kachiku. Kachiku emerged the overall winner with 978 votes ahead of the former Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Kingsley Moghalu, who polled 589 votes, and Chukwuka Moye scored 339 votes. Kachikwu promised a purposeful leadership to rescue the country from the current challenges facing it. The ADC candidate will be contesting the 2023 presidential elections alongside former Vice President Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All Progressive Congress APC, and former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi of the Labour Party. Well, joining us to discuss this and more is Kunle Lawal. He's the Executive Director of the Electoral College of Nigeria, and Ufoma Igbamuno, he's the Head of News in Nigeria Info FM 99.3. It's good to have you gentlemen join us in the studio.
Hi, Marianne. I'm not sure why you decided to bring myself and Kunle. But anyway, it's good to be here.
Kunle, it's good to have you join us.
It's a pleasure always, Marianne, and of course, it's a pleasure to be with Ufoma.
I know this. Let me start with you, because one would have thought that with the kind of clout, let me use that word loosely here, that a Kingsley Moghalu who has this, who this is not his first rodeo at this presidential ticket thing, and a Chukwuka Moye who also seemed to have garnered some favor from Nigerians, seem to have polled lesser votes as against Dumebi, who people barely really know. We don't even know if he really campaigned. He had that much media exposure. And so it leaves a lot of people wondering what exactly transpired at the ADC presidential primaries.
Okay, so with information made available to me, I'll try to make a few things clear. So the ADC, of course, adopted an intelligent move, which was that in every primaries being held, everyone was going to pool resources together, and those resources would form a jackpot in which delegates would be transported. They agreed to this at national level, and the truth is, these actions even come up from the Lagos gubernatorial primaries, which had the same problem. So they pooled these resources together, but of course, on the day of the primaries, a few bend downs happened. I would like to say Lagos gubernatorial primaries too was played like that. There's even a voice note where we have there was access to, which I overheard with some people that an aspirant, the one that won on both sides, were actually canvassing, raising funds for delegates. I think in the Lagos issue, there were even people that were made members and delegates on the same day. I'm not sure whether that happened in the presidential primaries, but it seems to become a set of things. ADC simply forgot it was a political party and freedom of association. The first person to bring them into limelight, of course, was Kingsley Moghalu when he declared he was running for president. And then with Moye coming also, Chukwuemeka Moye coming into the game too, and a few other aspirants, Favour Ayodele, etc. The game was now choked up. And somewhere down the line, Dumebi appears from nowhere. Less than it clinches the form, pulls the average move. So we can effectively say primaries in a few parties have been the same. And is okay, their name is ADC, but I think in their primaries they practiced an ADG, any dollar goes. Thank you.
Wow. I mean, because there are rumors when these kinds of events take place, you hear that these things are dollarized. And for a small party, using the word small loosely here, like the ADC, one would think that there would be pure internal party democracy, being that parties like this are striving not to be like the two major political parties. But from what Kunle is saying, that might not necessarily be the case. Why do you think that is?
It just shows you how much the country has deteriorated, not just in the last 7 years, but you could argue since independence. That's why stomach infrastructure would always work in most parts. That's why most politicians believe that, all they need to do is wait for you on election day at different polling units, and buy your votes with the 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira, or 3,000 naira allegedly that they usually sell. But at the end of the day, it also tells you that the move by the National Assembly, if you remember, just a few months ago when they were working on the Electoral Act 2022, they actually wanted it to be indirect primaries. That's what they initially put out. But of course, you would argue that constitutionally that doesn't necessarily work, because it doesn't give everybody room or people freedom of choice. And so that's why the president, decided not to agree and asked them to go back and, add other forms. But coming back to the ADC issue, yes, there are allegations. We possibly do not have facts to back it up right now. But, they say from every iota of rumors, there's some possibly atom of truth. And of course, when these things, it's sad that reportedly, these delegates were bought with as low as $100. When the major parties were allegedly sharing 10, 15, 20, I even hear as much as $50,000 allegedly. The ADC reportedly, some of these delegates, got just $100. That's give or take about 50,000-60,000 naira or thereabout, and voted the eventual winner. Again, all of these are allegations. We do not have facts to back it up. But it just sums up where the country is headed, such that these persons, because of course you remember it's not the general election. Yes, this is just primary. It's just a small circle. So all of your popularity really doesn't come into play, because again, if I go back to the major political parties, that you could argue that there are a number of politicians in the major political parties who possibly would have gotten the nod of their parties, but did they have enough war chest? Well, the answer is staring at you.
Kunle, I'm back to you because one of the things that the Electoral College, that I understand the Electoral College is trying to do, is to move away from the norm and educate people, not just political parties now, but people, the average voter, about how we can have freer and fairer, elections. But how do we even start to talk about these things if the political parties themselves do not necessarily believe in this free, fair, process? Now, let's take, for example, like the normal man would say that, we have, not credible people in these parties. These people are corrupt, allegedly. But then the people who are members of these political parties are Nigerians. They're not from Mars. So obviously, and these people who call themselves delegates, who allegedly take these monies, are also Nigerians. Does that not also reflect that we, the people, have come to be okay with that modus operandi, or am I wrong?
So the Electoral College, of course, has worked closely with that, I must say, in the past. We work closely, we work with every other political party, and, to have been part of primaries and see the kind of things we've got to see. The ADC, we even thought, had a different ideology. They called themselves Third Force, which of course they thought or assumed that they were a little different. But to hear allegations of people receiving $5 then when they voted and then received $95, it's quite depressing. The Electoral College has worked with the ADC, tried to train a few, even tried to send some of our graduated associates to the ADC for grooming within the party. And I from what I've seen, I think we'd rather just keep our students, our associates at home. But anyway, going on to, the issues within all other political parties and the ADC inclusive. Why the ADC comes as a surprise is because you find out that the basis of which we now understand clearly, because this is the first election year the Electoral College is going to, we have now found out that the buffet of corruption is actually being spiced, eaten, and cooked by the middle class. So, of course, if the middle class is in direction and say they are not, because a price tag has not been put on their head, as we've seen on the case of the ADC. I remember when Kingsley Moghalu and Chukwuemeka Moye joined, it was such a big thing. They were so happy they were attracting clout. And the moment the former PDP guy bust in the game, it became, game as usual. So I find it a little sad that the ADC didn't take, or its neck and its members do not take value above status quo of things. I think as I've won the primaries and I've been part of conducting about 4 or 5. And I'll tell you that if you were at that level as a party, what you should have done is direct primaries and not an indirect primaries, and thereby for buying delegates. Now, this is what the Electoral College finds most complacent. In ward congresses, which were held in Oyo State and Lagos State by the ADC, you didn't have an attendance of up to 100. then how the hell in the primaries for gubernatorial in Lagos you have over 500, and in a what they call it in a presidential primaries do you have close to 1,000? It's highly depressing.
Ufoma, because we don't have time, I'm going to toss this question to you. There seemed to be so much hope, to borrow his word, ginger, that we were having newcomers, especially for the ADC. They had at some point a lot of presidential aspirants, and one would have thought that it would have been, a very good way to see democracy work inside that party, but that's not the case right now. Do you see a lot of crisscrossing from the ADC? Do you see people moving away because of what has happened and the outcome of the elections? And looking at does he stand a chance?
To be very honest with you, I try not to reduce people's chances. Even I can tell them privately. Excuse me, but I try not to do that maybe publicly. Because of course I'm supposed to be unbiased and all of that as a journalist. But I remember telling one of the presidential aspirants in 2018, talking about Sowore. He came to our office, by the way, in Port Harcourt, and I told one of his aides, please stop kidding around. You're not going to win this thing. Let's not even joke. But one way or the other, I've also realized that you don't want to reduce, the efforts other people are putting into the picture. Are they going to go away? Well, I think I saw what's his name, Monye, earlier today put out a tweet, just 2 words, Peter Obi, those 2 words. Make of that what you wish. For the ADs, for the Kingsley Moghalu, I think I saw his comment, suggesting that for now he doesn't know what he's going to do. He's going to take his time, before reacting to this loss. But I think we have a third force. I think we have an option that people are already looking at. I've seen a lot of persons say, oh, it's just online, it's just on Twitter. But trust me, there is a third force. And if you do not take a certain Peter Obi in the Labour Party seriously, well, maybe you might just about be taking him seriously, because even the 2 major political parties, the PDP and the APC, are looking at him and wondering, wow, what is going on?
And I was hoping that there would be another, because there's so many third forces, and we're seeing a Kwankwaso on the other end.
Yes, of course. Kwankwaso is another powerful force. Maybe might not do so much in the southern part of the country, but Kanu, Jigawa, and a couple of the states in the north, well, he's definitely going to pull some weight.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed and keep watching these stories as they develop. Kunle Lawal is the Executive Director of the Electoral College of Nigeria, and Ufoma Igbamuno is the Head of News, Nigeria Info FM 99.3 here in Lagos. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you for having me.
Part of the conversation. All right. Well, thank you all for staying with us. That's the show tonight. We will round off the show today with our weekly highlights. So we give you an idea of what we've been discussing all through the week. Plus Politics returns on Monday. I am Mary Anacone. Have a great weekend. Y'all better have a great weekend.
Senator Tinubu, or that, however we want to call it, has been building this over time. If you check it, how many people has he helped to get into office? There are countless people. Do you expect these people to turn their backs on him? So the mode of primaries that APC chose favored him, or when I don't know how they chose it, but there is no way, based on the capacity he's been building, for him to get to lose this, because pretty much everybody there, one way or the other, has benefited from his generosity, or from his politics, or from his guidance, however you want to look at it. And there is no way. I wasn't even surprised. For me, at the end of the day, you could say, if you were looking at social media a few days back, you might think others had a chance, but if you understood politics, there is no way.
I would say that, frankly, I would rather that Bola Tinubu withdraws from the contest and allow the vice president.
Why?
My reasons are profound. Bola Tinubu, Asiwaju himself, is practically too old, weary, and tired for the enormous responsibility of fixing, resetting, and reworking Nigeria. And that is why it becomes very difficult for the supporters of the vice president to make him step down. The truth is that from the Southwest, the candidacy of the vice president is more attractive to people across the nation. Beyond the fact that Atiwaju is a political figure and a phenomenon,
in spite of the sentiments about rotation, between the North and the South and what have you, we must remember that at the end of the day, the people that are involved in all of these calculations, and strategizing and all of that are politicians. And to them, the overriding interest is their own interest first. So, as the emergence of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar was more about which of the candidates those politicians felt stood the greatest chance of defeating an incumbent government, regardless of whichever candidate that incumbent government or incumbent party eventually presents. So in the eyes of the delegates and what have you, they felt that whether, regardless of the zoning arrangement, Atiku stood the biggest chance. That's not to say, that's without prejudice to the very show of shame that we saw with how money became a major factor.
Well, facing out the politicians is not the best. All the politicians, as you mentioned. You see, this time around, people have to look at the track record of all the politicians that are aspiring to go into positions, especially the executive arm of government, because that is probably the most important arm of government out of the three. Because if you get that one right, other two are certainly going to be good also. So I think that's what to prepare. This is not the time really for us to go and start any experiment. Some of the young men and women that we have seen taking power, especially at state level, some of them were a huge disappointment. People.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
My name is Adegbenga Badijo. I am a chartered accountant. I choose to be part of the movement to change the narrative from the good old days to looking forward to a better tomorrow. I'm an Ijebu man from Ijebu-Igbo in Ogun State, born and bred in Ilesha, formerly in Western State, later Oyo State, but now Osun State. Though from a middle-class parentage and a humble background, I was born at the prestigious Wesley Guild Hospital Ilesha, with one of the best medical facilities in Nigeria and a retinue of well-trained doctors, nurses, and medical personnel to boot. So I knew this song as a toddler. Ìgbìmọ̀ mi rèjò fi ojú mi rò mí o. Ìgbìmọ̀ mi padà bọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ mi mọ́ dayọ̀. Ọba rere mọ́jọ́rọ̀ ẹkún bá mi. I grew up wanting to be a medical doctor. We lived at Kappa in Ilesha, the staff quarters of the Government Teacher Training College Ilesha, where my late dad was a teacher and a tent-making Methodist minister. Incidentally, I visited the compound a year ago, got to the house where we lived, and was taken aback by the level of infrastructural decay. The hitherto green, lush lawns are overgrown with weeds, with indiscriminate subsistence farming going all around the place. As a young man with a humble background, I missed nothing. In fact, when my late dad of blessed memory bought his first ladder saloon car at less than £3,000 with a car loan, I felt we had moved to the upper middle class. I never believed we didn't have what bourgeoisies had. There was no "my car is bigger than your own" mentality. To us, then, education was everything, and this still holds true today as the best inheritance and legacy that can be enduring. We can change the narrative by investing tremendously on rejuvenation of formal and citizens' education across board, so that we can restore a value system that engenders transformational and healthy leadership traits for a better tomorrow. Our children deserve a brighter and a better tomorrow, not the good old days. I join Shemore in this collective drive towards a greater tomorrow. Thank you.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the Babin, I pay my rent. From the Babin, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayome Sale. Hello, ladies, and we have a full house. Money, she's back. Hello, Mani.
Hi, how are you?
Lovely mustard. Is this mustard or yellow?
Yeah, it's mustard. Mustard is
very
my
lovely.
color.
Very lovely.
Thank you.
How are you? How's
Fine.
the week been for you?
The week has been very, very good. Today was hectic.
We missed you on Monday.
So far, so good. Yes.
We're looking forward to having our conversation on politics.
Yes, I had domestic issues. So
I understand. Well, how are you though? How is everything?
Not bad at all.
Awesome. Utielu, how are you?
I'm here.
How is work?
Yay! So today was a good day. Today was a good day for one reason, but I can't say what the reason was, but today was a good day.
Okay. What's the point of sharing?
Exactly. Don't tell us it wasn't.
But you don't see how work was. I couldn't lie now, could I? It was a good day.
Smile.
Yeah. But how about you?
Today
are you guys going on public holiday as well?
Of course we have to. Yeah, we have to, so that they're not disgruntled.
I know.
Yeah, we need to rest.
I know.
Yeah. When you say so, they are not disgruntled.
Yes, that's just why you. If not, we will work, please. Everybody has to earn their pay.
Everybody has to earn their pay, right?
Out.
All right, so today we're discussing the challenges that young entrepreneurs face in Africa, right? And we have a fantastic guest with us. But here's what we found as today's quote. I think I was very naive early on, but that's also meant I didn't know what couldn't be done. I love this quote because, sometimes people think that because you're young, you can't start up something. But sometimes ignorance is a bliss. Naivety is a bliss because it tells you that you can't think of impossibilities. And I see that happening a lot with our young entrepreneurs, right? Despite all the things that are happening, you see that they are just breaking a lot of ground. And I'm wondering, oh my God, where are they? But there's a lot going on especially in the tech space. A lot of entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, are doing amazingly well. And we're happy to be hosting one of them today. So however, the zeal and resilience to thrive as a young entrepreneur in Africa, they are being impacted by varying challenges stemming from non-existent incentives, insufficient technical support, insufficient governance, inadequate infrastructure, and lack of funds. I mean, that's to mention a few, which is at its core, right? So Sandra Chukwugozie is here to discuss the challenges young entrepreneurs face in Africa and how she has been able to grow amidst these challenges, and also celebrate her recent accomplishment on the Forbes Under 30 Entrepreneurs mention. Now, we'll do all of that, but first, let's take a break to see what we found in the news. Stay with us. All right, you're still watching Ways. Pop some popcorn. Is that why I'm craving popcorn today? Grab a blanket and your favorite buddy. Put away the cell phones and tablets and then queue up a string of movies for a fun night of entertainment. Now, National Movie Night on the 2nd of Friday in June encourages us to start or restart a tradition of movie nights with friends and family. Movies have been bringing people together for over 100 years. The stars, the story, entertainers connect us and helps us to create memories. As technology evolves, so does how we enjoy our movie nights, has evolved now from the theater to real home movies, the VCR, DVD, and streaming platforms like we have today. We've been enjoying movies on big and small screens. So Drive-In Movies invited us to enjoy films from the comfort of our cars. Today, our video library is as large as we want it to be, thanks to all those streaming platforms. Now, we can even enjoy movies in our own backyards, projected onto screens with, and under the stars. Hello, ladies. Who is a movie person here?
I am.
I stayed up.
I
was just telling
Uti.
Uti.
Person.
So these days, once I get home, I just pick up maybe like a snack, usually mangoes, because I love mangoes. And I just sit down. I finish. I just look for the one that is not too long. So last night I watched Hustle on Netflix. Beautiful movie. Very beautiful movie. It was about the basket. I mean, it's a story from nothing, from grass to grace, But he was so talented, But the part about the talent is not enough because he had to discipline himself.
Yeah, talent is
not enough. So I was really. You should watch that movie if you have the time. Hustle.
I will.
Yeah, Adam Sandler. What's her name? Queen Latifah. Yeah.
And the whole.
It was a good movie.
Yeah.
I think
all the NBA stars.
Old, right?
No, it's a new movie on Netflix, very lovely movie.
Another one that I know is very nice, everybody's talking about now, is Miss Sloan or something like that. Sloan. Yeah, Miss
Sloan is
Sloan.
old, but old, yeah. But it's a good movie.
But
as
it's
well.
a good
Well,
one.
I guess I could see why Sloan would be trending at this point in time because she's a lobbyist, so political.
Oh
moves,
yeah, so it's moving,
moves
it's
and
making
moves.
waves.
But yeah, Sloan is a good movie as well.
Okay.
But yeah, Hustle is
I'll jump in.
awesome movie, and it's actually better if you.
So
like,
what's the one you recommended
sports movies.
again?
I can't remember if it's 12 Angry Men or 12 Mighty Men, but I think it's.
I'm going to look for 12 something
12,
men.
yeah. So it's actually a true story
Yeah.
about 12 orphans, but it's not basketball, it's American football. But also a very
Awesome.
good
I'm going to
movie.
watch that tonight. So we can do virtual watching. Just connect, snap popcorn, put it on status. We'll know that we are connected.
I've actually done a virtual movie night before. So Customer Service Week 2021. No, sorry, 2020. Yes, 2020. So after COVID, October. On the final day of the week, on the Friday, we actually closed out with the movie night. And funny enough, we watched the sports movie as well, We Are Marshall. But we did it, the whole company, we screened it, and yeah, everybody logged in from wherever they were at home.
Oh,
We did a
nice.
virtual movie
That's
night.
nice.
So it's doable. We can have a
Absolutely.
Waze virtual movie
Yeah,
night.
we can do
I
that.
can do that. All right, so who are we starting with? Uti, your story.
Okay, so I tried to go for something, I wouldn't say unusual, but interesting, given that we're talking about entrepreneurship today. My headline says, Nigerians beat CBN restrictions and trade 78 billion naira in Bitcoin in the first 3 months of the year. So, of course, we all know that in February of 2021, the federal, the federal government, the CBN banned the trade in cryptocurrencies, but we then find that come 2022, in the first quarter from January to March, there's been a 5.71% increase from the 73.4 billion naira of last year, same period last year, to the 78 billion that 77 billion, it's almost 78 billion, 77.75 billion that we have traded this year. And interestingly enough, I don't even believe that these are the full numbers. So these numbers are being reported from just one platform called Paxful, which is a major peer-to-peer currency trading platform. And Nigeria is their biggest market. And even though, we have grown 5.71%, the global trade on the platform actually grew by 8.33%. Bitcoin has been everywhere. I remember, I think it was end of 2019, or was it even 20? No, it wasn't 2019. I think it was 2020, where Bitcoin seemed to have skyrocketed through the roof, and it was going for crazy amounts of money. And I remember being shocked when CBN banned it because it just felt like this is the new frontier, right? We're talking, NFTs, all sorts of things are happening in that space. Digital is the future. So eventually, even though the monetary systems are slow, it's almost clear to see that this type of currency is not going anywhere anytime soon. And with Nigerians, where there's a will, there's a way. We find a way. Something can be profitable and you can make money, and then we will find a way. So clearly, to the tune of 78 billion naira,
That's a lot.
we have found a way.
That's a lot of money.
Okay. Money.
All right. Workers narrowly escape death as 5-story building collapses in Ebonyi State. Yes, in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, there are building codes and regulations that builders, building contractors and engineers must comply with, which will drastically reduce the rate of the buildings-related accidents if adhered to, but most people prefer to circumvent this. Sorry, I read something else. Several workers luckily escaped death when a 5-story building under construction collapsed in Abakaliki, the Ebonyi State capital. According to sources, the building located at Babo Presco campus of Ebonyi State collapsed at about 2 p.m. on Tuesday, June the 7th. Spokespersons of the state police command said that no casualty was recorded. So a member of the community said that laborers working at the site ran out when the building started vibrating and eventually collapsed. Meanwhile, the government officials have inspected the collapsed building in order to ascertain the cause of the incident. So I think there are a lot of people to, hold responsible. We're lucky there were no casualties here. But this collapse is coming months after this major high-rise collapse in Lagos. And still, these things are going on. I think it's actually not making sense because the government actually have professionals who are supposed to be checking these things and making sure that they're building with the right materials, using the right skilled laborers to do it. But nothing is still being done, and people can die in the process of having this kind of thing happen. I think it's crazy anyways. 5-story building.
Oh.
It's not making sense.
Let's just be thankful
that nobody
Absolutely.
died, yeah.
But I think they should still penalize someone.
No,
Of
definitely.
course.
I think the builders, I think the government officials as well, who are supposed to be checking
who are
it.
supposed to monitor.
Yes.
Because there's supposed to be a
monitor.
monitoring team
Yeah, exactly.
to check for integrity tests and
Yes.
all of that. So even though yes, we are grateful to God nobody died, but somebody should actually...
Yes, because people could have
Yeah.
died, and
Yeah.
it happened in the afternoon
Of
at
course.
2 p.m. And they were actually workers inside, but when they heard the building,
vibration, everybody just
jackpot.
scampered out. Not once beaten.
Yeah.
All right. So while speaking on the at an event organized by the Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveyor Valuers, the chairman of the Economic Financial Crimes Commission, Abdul Rashid Bauer, said that real estates are safe havens, right, for money launderers. So he said this, that, you know, that they discovered about last month, that they discovered that a retired civil servant had just completed a university in Kaduna State. He built a full university, you know, and the fact is that nobody even reported that that transaction even happened. Even amongst the real estate world, nobody knew that thing happened. They only uncovered that. So he says, I made bold to say that this real estate sector is one of the easiest places for money launderers. That's why we are empowering there's an act, I think, that is backed by law for them to be able to prosecute, you know, what's it called, defaulters. So he's urging this body, that's the Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, to partner with the Financial Crimes Commission so that they can weed off, you know, all the bad eggs.
What kind of defaulters are we looking at right now?
Is it?
What kind of defaulters?
So, for instance, transactions like this, right?
Yeah.
For instance, somebody would build a whole university.
And nobody would see
would
money
know.
pass through
Nobody
any
would see
channel.
Jonathan, nobody knows anything. You just, boom, there's a university somewhere. How did a retired civil servant get funds to be able to build that?
Yeah,
so that's why he's saying
what's
that.
the real estate authorities, what are they supposed to do? How are they
No, so
supposed
that's
to know
why.
whether people pay?
There is supposed to be a body money. You can't. You know, you are a lawyer.
Yes,
you
I know.
cannot
That's
feign
why-
ignorance. So every real estate company right now in Nigeria should be under a particular body that monitors all their transactions
So
and all of that.
man is asking is, even if they're under a body.
Uh.
So here's the thing, right? We've put in so many things in place to be able to track money. There's BVN, there's this, there's that. The fact is, monies are getting moved around. And I see where he's coming from, because I think I've said it many times on the show. It is in Nigeria that somebody will tell you they paid 200 million cash for a house.
Yes.
I mean, we were just talking about Bobrisky today, 450 million that he was bragging that he paid for a house. Where'd you get that kind of money? So the fact is, there are certain transactions that should raise flags in the financial system. When
if
you are
it
moving,
actually passes through the financial
well, so
system.
that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, you're not going to move 200 million in cash. Most of these houses are... Wait, hold on. Calm down. Calm down. What I'm trying to say is, no, hold on. So, the volume of houses and things that are being sold, they're not all being sold, they're not cash transactions, right? But when you see these monies moving around, what's the point of having BVN? What's the point of having all of this infrastructure to track money, and you still can't do anything about it?
I think what he's saying here is the EFCC actually track. So if you move money above a certain amount, I think it's 99 million, they will know, they will track the money. So this money is not being moved inside the bank.
At all.
So
it's cash.
It's backdoor channel.
Whether it is backdoor channels, look, how many times have we had, you drive down the road now, you see real estate banners everywhere. Is everybody slinging around cash?
Well, me, I just want to say that I'm happy that they are narrowing, because you see, I keep on saying that if you follow the way real estate they are going, nobody that is earning a decent salary will be able to buy a house.
And should I tell you something? What did they say? They said an employee, government.
Is retired civil servant.
Do you know if he's buying this or building this university for one of your politicians?
That's what we are saying. Now, they're the same grammar, me and you.
Yeah.
You understand? So my own is that I am happy that this is happening. Because my friend had told me that there was an estate in Abuja where a politician just came and bought a whole street. You understand? So automatically the prices that they fix for some of these houses is ridiculous. Because if you check the indices that makes the property to go up, we don't have those infrastructures. So this excess money being pumped in this sector is making life difficult for people,
most people
that can afford to buy a decent home.
In a country that
but because they need
has a housing problem,
sneak this money in, they just take the prices.
They just increase the price anyhow. So I am happy. I don't. Please,
I'm happy. I just hope they.
I think that it's just important that we look at the problems in the right way. So first of all, what we are missing. One of the key things that we're first of all missing in Nigeria, because we have all sorts of people, developers building houses everywhere. Your building just collapsed.
Yeah.
The reality is, you may not be able to. Yes, you can track the money on one end, but even from the houses, you have to put processes in place that stop people from calling any price they want for a house. So, for example, if you build a house, right, there are margins by which you cannot exceed. So, if you spend 100 million, for example, on a house, and the rules say that your margin cannot exceed 20%, then you can't sell the house for more than 120 million. We don't have that today.
Yeah.
The person building the house can decide that their margin must be 50%, and they will sell the house for 150. And if they find a buyer, they will sell it.
They will sell for 200. What are you saying?
So the fact is, that's part of what's driving the problem. So it is, remember what we were talking about, having institutions in place. We have to have processes in place that at least start to clamp these things down so that the prices of these houses are controlled as much as they can be, because again, FX goes up, everything goes up. The cost of land in itself goes up exponentially,
as can be.
but we're controlling. So it's putting measures in place to fight it. We won't always get it right 100%. We won't catch everybody, but we should.
We have overshot our time. Let's discuss entrepreneurship. But I like what is happening. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This Medan has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
When I start hearing the shoot of guns.
Whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely, right? No question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV. Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Thanks for staying with us now. According to a Biz Community publication, despite Africa's impressive growth in the past 25 years, its entry into digital economy, the job market continues to be in a depressed state as youth unemployment continues to rise. Now, Africa has the largest population of young people in the world, some 200 million aged between 15 and 24, accounting for 60% of all of Africa's jobless. Now, this is alarming to say the least because youth employment could drive economic growth in Africa if we invest in them. And the question is, what steps can we take to address Africa's needs, a way out of poverty, and entrepreneurship may be the key. It has a potential to create millions of jobs in Africa, and youth entrepreneurs may bring about the positive change we urgently need. And although more and more youth are looking into entrepreneurship, there are many challenges facing the sector, like the lack of access to information, finance, networking, and mentoring, and just to mention a few. So what are some of the challenges you think young entrepreneurs are facing in Africa? Let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-8038-4663. You can also tweet at us at Way Show Africa1 with the hashtag Way Show. So I'll bring in Sandra in a minute, but I just wanted to hear your thoughts, Uti and Manny. Manny, we've removed you from the bracket of young entrepreneurs.
Are you joking?
You're now,
are you joking?
You're now a grandma entrepreneur.
Okay, well, yeah.
At 12 years, come
12
on.
years is not,
it's not a joke.
Thing. Yeah, it's not a joke. So these young entrepreneurs, they face a lot in this market, ranging from lack of capital, startup capital, because who's going to invest in a small company? You have a vision, doesn't mean that it's going to, end up well. Some people don't know how to take things from vision stage to execution, success phase. So people have issues trying to, invest in all this. And we do not have enough venture capital companies in Nigeria. So you have a lot abroad. But here, how many venture capital companies do we have? Yes, then we have issues with enabling environment and government policies. So you do one thing, like now, look at what's going on with Okada. They've crushed a lot of people's monies. You understand? Today they say it's okay to do this. Tomorrow a policy comes out that overtakes that and makes it very difficult.
Policies.
Yes, so it makes it very difficult. Then we have their age barriers, So these people, like our president said some years ago, said they're lazy youths. So when we look at them now, we think, why should I invest in this? Because their ways are different from our ways. Like you said, and
their thoughts.
Their thoughts are not our thoughts. So you don't even understand them. Sometimes there's this loss of communication, or things are lost in translation because of the age barrier, stereotypes. Then for me, the main one is I think that most of them go into these businesses with the wrong, would I say, notion? They are wrong
expectations.
Wrong expectation. They go in for the wrong reasons. They'll tell you they want to be their own bosses. They're tired of working under somebody. They want to close early. They want to go home early. Or they want to take pictures and post on social media and put boss chick or boss. You know, so there are a lot of things that they would definitely encounter that will make businesses very difficult for them.
Well, okay, let me hear your thoughts, Uti, quickly.
Mani has said it all.
Really?
I mean, it's an interesting time to try. When you were introducing the topic, it said entrepreneurship may be the way. It really is the way. We just have too many people. The government can't do it all.
True.
Entrepreneurs really, that SME space, given the type of population and the makeup of our population, it really is the answer for, you know, getting our economy to thrive. And for me, I think about the industries that have really embraced that, and we see the growth in the fashion industry, we see the growth in the food industry, we see the growth in the tech space. I mean, it seems like every day you blink now, there's a new fintech, there's a new company coming up.
Absolutely.
You know, so there's really a lot that can be done when we harness the, I don't know if I should call it the energy of youth or the optimism of youth, even though they say Nigeria crushes dreams, but it really is important for us to understand how important entrepreneurship is, you know, and that whole element of job creation, of wealth creation. The more we can get young people in that space, the better. But I think Mani did a fantastic job in articulating the challenges. This is, I remember, I think it was one of my first shows, and our guest said doing business in Nigeria is an extreme sport.
Yeah.
It's a very, very extreme sport.
I believe that.
You can be, you're here today, gone tomorrow, and we're not even talking about making it to the first 5 years. Nigeria can literally wipe you out overnight. So, yeah, I think it's, if the youth that are doing it today, kudos to them, man.
Absolutely. Let me bring somebody that Nigeria has not wiped out overnight. So Sandra Chukwudozie is the CEO and the founder of Salfa Energy, a Nigerian-based leading technology-enabled renewable energy company that provides standalone solar home systems to homes and businesses in off-grid areas in Africa. In 2017, Sandra launched a range of entry-level solar home systems to make solar affordable and inclusive to those at the bottom of the pyramid. Now, the company has introduced larger solar home systems to help Africans leverage solar for productive and income-generating use. In 2022, Sandra was featured in Forbes 30 Under 30 in the energy category, and we're really honored to host her again, because it's her second time on Ways, tonight on the show. Thank you so much, and congratulations. You know, it's one thing for you to do a business, it's another thing for the world to recognize that this is someone doing something great, you know. Your vision is, I mean, I like what Mani was saying, that yes, it's one thing for you to have a vision. Execution is a whole ball game entirely.
Absolutely.
So for you to be in that position where your business continues to take center stage, where people recognize your business and investors are willing to put their money in your business, which is how far what you have also leveraged on over the years. It tells me something that you're doing right, and you know, and being under 30 again, come on, what a way to live. But tell me first of all, how does it feel, you know, to be on the Forbes list? Let's start from there. Then before we now break it into the challenges.
I'm still taking this in. I mean, this was just last week Friday that it was announced, so I'm still taking it in. But honestly, it's an honor and it's a big win, not just for me, but for my team. You know, the alphas that I call them, who are my team members, who are the ones on the ground, who are making things move, and also my investors as well, those who actually they're putting money into Salfa Energy. It just feels so overwhelming to know that an African company, Nigerian-owned company, can reach this milestone. So I just feel really grateful and excited for the future.
I'm loving you already. You know how CEOs speak? But I'm telling you, no. So there's something that makes every person stand out when it comes to businesses, right? And entrepreneurs, as an entrepreneur, if you have it, you have it. If you don't have it, you don't have it. You know, it will be a struggle for you to be able to sustain that business, right? So tell me, first of all, you know, you have run this business for how many years now?
5 years.
5 years now, right? You're young, right? There are always, you know, challenges, right? But you have been able to, you know, even with the challenges, you've been able to rise above those challenges and still push your business to where it is today, you know, and it's still growing. First of all, explain those challenges, you know, as a young woman, because you're young, you're a woman, and you are would I call it a predominantly male-dominated field, right? Because the energy business, not many women delve into energy business in this country. A lot of men do the business, but women don't, you know. So maybe you should break down what the challenges have been for you as a business, as a young person, as an entrepreneur, you know, again, in Nigeria. That's a double whammy.
So I think what she said actually resonated with me so strongly. The biggest challenges that I faced was, number one, raising finance, and number two, growing my team. And I really want to touch on raising finance because that's an important area where companies can be made or broken. And for me, right, in 2017, I had an idea for a business and I struggled to raise financing, and I had to literally bootstrap my business. I raised some small funding from family, and then I started, you know, bootstrapping this business. I started in Alaba and Idumota. We would distribute products to wholesalers that were there. But then it was just something that wasn't really supported because it's renewable energy, it's solar. So it's that whole thing of, we're not sure of this business that you're trying to push, therefore we won't invest in you. And what it meant for me, like other entrepreneurs, is the fact that you aren't able to put down proper procedures and processes. So you end up as a CEO being a one-man business. You are the HR, you are the accountant, you are the operations person, and that was what we were doing for a long period of time. And even when it came to having a proper business process and even tax reporting, it was a struggle because all the time that you can use to grow the company, you're using it in other, you know, areas of the business. So for me, right, that was one challenge. The second one was the team. How do you, first of all, assemble a team and get them to buy into a vision? Because it's one thing for you as a founder to know what exactly you want to do, but how do you aggregate different genders, different age groups, different tribes, and unite them under one mission? And the beauty of Salfa, my company, is the fact that our culture is about we. It's actually focused on Umoja. Umoja means unity, we stand. And that is something that I tried so hard to ingrain in my team. And I feel that with that early adoption of unity, working as a team, and just, you know, breaking through with the barriers we had with financing, it actually helped us on the way to really grow that business. But it wasn't easy at all, you know, lots of trials, but I'm just grateful that we're here now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So interesting that you guys talked about culture last week Friday. Well,
yeah.
I'll come to you.
Yeah.
When she just said culture, you see, it's something that if you get it, you understand it. Culture, there has to be a culture that, you know, the company is known for. Go ahead.
It's the foundation of everything.
Yeah.
So interesting, the energy space. When you were talking about challenges, the first thing that came to mind when I saw your profile was we're diesel, we're a generator, we're used to generating our own power, but we're used to doing it in a certain way.
Absolutely.
So what challenges have you faced on that side of things? You touched on it lightly about, you know, even access to market and people not supporting that. I know that we've come a long way. You know, it seems like today there's solar panels everywhere. But interesting to know what kind of challenges you faced in that space.
So interesting story, right? I grew up in an oil and gas family conglomerate. And the goal for me was, you know, study, get some experience, and then come work in the family business. And I love that idea so much. And something interesting happened to me. After my master's degree in oil and gas management, I was fortunate to work at the United Nations in New York in 2015. And that was when the SDG goals were being launched. There was about, you know, access to clean energy. So many goals were launched, about 17 of them. And what really struck me was the fact that energy was no more about oil and gas, fossil fuel. It was now about clean, affordable, sustainable energy. But it was also the consciousness, you know, leaving no one behind, starting with the furthest behind first, giving them access. And I think for me as a young person, I really struggled to find meaning in what I did. Yes, you know, it's a family legacy. You want to honor the family by doing that. But deep down, I really wanted something that would call me for a higher purpose. And so when I heard that, when I was exposed to the UN and that vision and that mission they had, it lit a fire in me. And then after some time, I resigned that job and I came back to Nigeria, and I was burning with this fire to, you know, diversify my family conglomerates and, you know, go into solar energy. And just like you said, we're used to oil, gas, diesel. I mean, I was met with resistance, right? Because the challenge is, this wasn't what we signed up for. We signed up for...
You used to go and study petrochemical engineering.
So what are you doing? And so, and so that's why my road to solar was tough, because I mean, this is someone, people will see me and they was telling me, why are you struggling with solar kits and solar home systems? Your parents, what are you doing? And for years I always struggled with, am I doing the right thing? But just something in my heart just said to me that, you know, this is, if you don't stand up for yourself, if you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. And so I just had to make a way, and my team are really fantastic. They've been so supportive. They're just young Nigerians who are energized, who really want to make a change, and that's what we're doing. We're just trying to make it work in this country, trying to fight, you know, that's generational mindset that energy is oil and gas, that solar energy is not here to stay. Solar is here to stay, and guess what? Climate change is real, and that's what we're really fighting. That's why we're here.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, so let's quickly go in and out. I want to drink some water.
This Medan has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
When I start hearing the shoot of guns,
every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, if you're just tuning in, we're having an amazing chat discussing challenges young entrepreneurs face in Africa, and we have our guest, Sandra Chukwudozie. All right, please let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at Wayshow Africa1 with the hashtag Wayshow. I was gonna mix Sonia, Safa, all these in one name. But I mean, you have an interesting story. But Mani, you had a question?
Yes. So how do you deal with competition and finding clients? Because people tend to stick with
money for the money, straight up.
Straight up. Let's go there. So people tend to stick with well-known brands, brand names. So how do you navigate in that?
So to be able to, first of all, in our space, it's actually a blue ocean, meaning that there's so much, demand for this product, and they haven't been addressed yet. And so with what we do, we find our own niche. You understand? Because the energy market is segmented into different tiers. You have those who don't even have access to lighting and phone charging. And you have those who, like this building, need access to powering devices and appliances and whatnot. So we focus on the furthest behind who lack access to energy. And what that has done is that it's given us like a differentiation. Do you get where I'm coming from? So we are not cannibalized by other competitors.
Literally, you don't have competitors.
We do, but because the market is so big, we are collaborators, because whatever impact you make in a state or a region, it's a ripple effect. So far, so good. That is what the market is like.
Okay, so let me ask a follow-up question.
Okay, please do.
Yes, you concentrate on the lowest in the market, right?
And we scale them up.
Okay, good. So the money that you get from there, is it enough to keep your business running?
Oh, absolutely. If we look at, those who are energy poor, I mean, 80 million Nigerians are energy poor, and the bulk of them live on less than $1 a day. You understand? So when you provide them solutions that are affordable for them, you unlock a big market, and that's what we've done, because you want to sell these products not only to customers, but you want to sell to distributors like those in Idumota, Alaba, Sabongeri, who can actually buy this product and make money off it by retailing. and then sales agents as well,
they buy
installers.
off you.
Exactly. So you want to be able to generate income for these different types of people, the sales agents, the distributors, the payment platforms, and through that means, you're making profits, you're generating income, and you're growing and scaling up.
Okay. I was going to ask, I was going to ask that when you look at young entrepreneurs today, right, what do you think are the most common mistakes that you see happen to them, with businesses? I mean, when I read the quotes today that talked about naivety being a blessing, it's like, because you're naive, you think that everything is possible. That in itself can also be, right? So what do you think are the common mistakes that young people make when it comes to making business decisions and starting off as an entrepreneur?
Okay, so there's so many things, but I'll stick to two. So the first one is that people don't believe in themselves. And it's not because they don't want to, it's because sometimes they don't have people around them who can light the flame in their hearts. When you're around people who are limited by their own self-beliefs and they project that to you, your zeal for entrepreneurship to dare and to be audacious is dampened. The second is having a team. I can't stress enough how powerful a team is. One of my friends says 1 + 1 is 11. And I always believe in the power of we. The power of we is far stronger than the power of I, because with we, you can accomplish things that one person cannot. And that's the mistake people make. They have a team quite all right? But the issue is that there's this thing called ego, where you feel that you are the boss, you feel that you're the one that should know it all, you have this superiority complex. How are you able to, and guess what, your employees have that too, but how are you able to step aside that ego and know that you're on a journey to create something? Every company that you found, or any business that you have, is about the soul of that founder. What is your soul like? Before you're able to create that company, it's the soul, it is who you are, and it actually emanates to the company that you build. And for me, growing up, I just wanted to have a team, people who I could, achieve something with and grow a company with. That was just my dream, to just have a happy place where we could all just be, in my childish mind, inventors in a lab creating something. That was a dream that I had. And for me, it was about giving back to people, just loving people around you. And it's not just about you, it's about the people that are with you. So once more, people and believing in yourself. These two key things are important.
So I like that you talked about people. So
when the people start to leave.
I'm glad that you answered the question, and you had talked about the team before.
Yeah.
And when Manny was giving her first talk, she talked about generations. One of the things we talk about on this show a lot is Gen Z. Yeah. You are one of them. So, when we cross-generational people try to manage Gen Zs, we lose hair or we go grey hair. So, in this team that you speak of, are they
like you?
Wait.
Yeah.
Are they within your generation? And if you do, what challenges do you face in managing a team? Because, for me, I feel like I speak a different lingo from my team. So there's a bit of a hurdle there. But what is it like from that side? Do you face challenges? I know you've talked about the team being wonderful and all of that, but what do you face trying to manage that team? Are they the same generation as you and then manage?
And there's sorry, just to add to what she's saying, what Manny has said earlier, this your generation, everybody wants to be boss chick.
Yeah.
Hashtag boss chick.
So that's true. I'm living my best life.
Yeah.
Manny has been scarred.
Same.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us.
Yes. So for me, right, I have it's a mixed generation. We have the boomers, millennials, Gen Z. So it's a mix, right? And earlier in my youth, I used to advocate for young people because I always felt like we were marginalized and we had to have our own seat at the table or make our own table. But as I get older, I realize the value of an intergenerational pool. Honestly. So, honestly, because it's good to have that mix because the young people have the zeal to really push and deliver, but the older heads have the wisdom. So when you combine it, somebody's thinking, somebody's running, you have a team. But I have had my own fair share of Gen Z that story for another day.
Another day.
Well, you know what? You find Gen Zs are actually very important for any organization because they challenge status quo. For them, it's more like this culture doesn't suit me, on to the next. So you begin to ask yourself, how can I adapt for the future? How can I begin?
Refresh
Exactly.
and, stay relevant.
Honestly.
Absolutely.
Very important.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk. Go ahead.
Okay, what I would like to ask you, there's this thing they call social rejection. Because you're so busy, when you started talking, you talked about the challenges that entrepreneurs face, especially in the beginning of a business.
Yeah.
Your HR, your lawyer, I'm sure you even
Everything.
started drafting
I'm telling
documents,
you.
your everything.
Yeah.
How did you manage with your social life? Because this is one of the challenges that these people face. They want to go to a party and they want to still do their business and make money. So how do you do that?
I think, I don't know, I'm a nerd. So,
so it doesn't affect you anyway.
So for me, right, I'm really like laser focused on any project or, thing that I have to do. But I would say that you have to make a choice, right? What do you really want to achieve? And I'm not saying that you can't have a social life, but I'm saying that something has to give. You understand?
Yeah.
In the earlier years, I was doing so much that I wasn't always out there, bubbly social. But I think now, when you're able to have a team that can take up the load from you, you're able to just be more present. Before I wasn't speaking publicly. I was just, refining the product, talking to customers, just, doing the in-house work. But what I would say is just having a good team that can really execute, that just lifts the load off you as a founder. And I think with that, you're able to just express yourself more publicly. Now I'm really out there pushing my brand, and
So we are going to invite you again. But we invited you for a party, you didn't come.
Hey,
so I can see why now. But I was going to ask, so how are you helping mentor younger people? Because there are young girls now that are going into the energy sector. I'm really proud of a lot of young people, coming into that sector. So how are you positioning yourself, to stand in, to be that, okay, I have been through this and I don't want you to go through that stress. Let me cut short your wahala that you're going to face and all of that. Is there something that Sulphur Energy is doing, as a mentorship program for younger people coming into the energy space?
So the biggest thing that we're doing is coming back to our team. Our team has an initiative called Alphas on the Move. And what we're trying to do is to bring in people into the energy sector and really begin to not only help them grow their talents or their skills. We want to disrupt their thinking. We want to create leaders of tomorrow. And how do we do that? We do that by ensuring that whoever comes into our team is able to scale up into a leadership position. And we do that by exposing them to critical business areas. If you work in a corporate company, you sometimes are stuck at a particular cadre of the organogram, right? But what we try to do is that we have a flat structure where we push people to begin to assume these leadership positions. And with that, we found a lot of people who have gone from roles like sales officers to sales managers to regional managers to national managers. So we do that as a company. When it comes to initiatives outside of our employees, it's something that we are refining. And we look at that through the lens of how do we begin to look at, for example, the engineers who install our products. How can we bring in male and female to begin to understand how these products are installed, how they're being repaired, how they're being, assembled and disassembled to ensure that we're actually localizing talent in Nigeria. And for me as a leader, it's important that now that, like I said earlier, I'm able to have more free time to really be public facing. I've been privileged to have a lot of people reach me on LinkedIn and they say, oh, wow, like I really want you to mentor me. And it's something that I myself am beginning to collate this kind of people and, prepare something that actually helps them, inspires them to just be better and just stay focused, be motivated, and just know that they can actually achieve what they set their mind to achieve.
Awesome.
That's good.
I mean, it's amazing. I love the passion with which you talk about your motivation, right? Yeah. Your motivation wasn't money. Your motivation was to solve a need and realizing. So I can imagine that pivotal experience for you when the SDG goals were being launched and, how you could connect with that, and it really has shaped your life. Manny talked about something that I think was very key. Our young people want to hammer. They want to blow.
Quickly.
And a lot of the time, I find that the push to go into entrepreneurship is driven by that, right? I believe, like you, that the most successful businesses are the businesses that are solving real problems for people. If you are there to serve, the money will follow. So do you feel like young people, do you agree that young people today, the driver is money, and do you feel that that's a challenge for them in being able to attain the kind of success that you have and maybe even more?
So let's be frank, right? I don't know if you're familiar with the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Money is the basic. Without money, you can't achieve most of your goals. So I think for anybody who hasn't gotten a certain level of material success, money is something, right? However, what you're talking about is being patient. Can you be patient to grow an idea, to scale the idea without wanting the now, to blow or hammer right now? And so for me, right, it's a big challenge that I feel that, yes, a young person should want to aspire to grow wealth. And even if you don't do it through entrepreneurship, how can a startup, a company begin to create wealth for its employees? We see lots of companies, myself included, beginning to think about ideas to, bring in people who are in the company who have actually stayed a number of years, to begin to have equity in that business, to begin to have a way to have their own sort of income, that it's not just about a salary, but growing their wealth. And that's something we take very seriously as well in our company. How do we ensure that people are joining in year 1 and in year 5, they can comfortably say that they can not only earn an income, but they can take their children to school, they can have a home, the basics that make anybody.
Yes. So you're incentivizing the work, right?
Are we incentivizing? We're giving them what they deserve. Yeah, we're giving them what they deserve. Everybody, if we compare America, we compare Europe, that's what they have. They have mortgages, they take out a house, they buy a car. Why can't our companies do that for our young people? And that's part of what Salpa is doing.
Because even when you come out of the military, then, I don't know if they still do it now, they immediately give you a Peugeot car.
In Nigeria.
Yeah,
these are the basics that stabilizes a person.
That stabilizes you as a person.
You're asking if
so
they
your
still
focus,
do it.
I don't know. I'm asking, I don't know. But it's the military now. I don't know, that's what it is. I'm asking it. Man, don't be sarcastic. I was going to say, let's come back to Forbes, because we have like barely 2 minutes to go.
Okay.
So are you under a lot of pressure now to like outperform? Because Forbes comes with pressure. It's a prayer to mayor. There's a pressure that comes with, when you start to get to those levels of recognition. So how are you managing that? And, is it putting you under any form of tension to, outperform, do better, and all of that?
Oh, I love pressure. Pressure is good because pressure is what takes you from point A to B. How do you make diamonds? They go through fire. That's what we want. We want to be a global company. So we need all pressure. We need to be able to challenge ourselves to dream bigger. Before Forbes came, right, it was, we were dreaming really big, but Forbes made us just, the ceiling just broke. It's like we can actually be anything we want to be. Wow. So the energy is just like really fiery. It's like, let's shoot for the stars, let's hire more people, let's begin to bring in more products. So that's where we are. We're excited. Pressure us, we want that.
So you're an egg. You get harder with pressure. Yes. So let me one final thing from me. If you were to speak to the government now, we know that airplanes, they need a runway to run before they take off. So if the government could help young entrepreneurs right now, what would you say? What's the first thing you would ask for?
The government?
Yes, the government.
We have policies. I would want those policies to be implemented. We have a lot of policies that help the ease of doing business. How are we implementing those policies so that young people can take advantage of it? We have a brain drain in this country. Our talents are leaving for Canada, Europe, America. What are we doing to solve those issues? How can we ensure that, for example, the ease of doing business in Nigeria, that we're actually elevating this country? And it's to the point, it's just, implementing our policies and putting the right things in the right place. That's what I would say.
Enabling environment.
Absolutely. So it's been fantastic speaking to you.
Thank you.
My ladies, I hope you had fun like I did.
Yes.
Because she has transferred the energy to me. Well, I hope you come back again. We'll keep on celebrating you. Don't worry. It's our duty to keep on pushing all the brands, all the young people, women, in fact, that are doing exceptionally well. It's our honor to continue to project, the great work you're doing, and we know that it's going to get bigger and better from here. All right, thank you so much, Manny. Thank you, Uti. Thank you so much again, Sandra. Now, before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagrams at Wayshow Africa. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements on social media. like, share, and invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed today's quote, I like this quote very much. You know, it just helps me think of possibilities everywhere. I think I was very naive early on, but that also meant I didn't even know what couldn't be done. You know, you need to think possibility. And she said it, you know, first of all, it's your mindset, right? We'll see you guys live on Monday as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria?
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
And now, let's join ace broadcaster Mamode Akuga as he takes us inside the Niger Delta.
Hello out there and welcome to the program. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. I'm your regular host, Mamode Akuga. In today's lineup of reports are some of the most interesting stories trending in the Niger Delta. And we begin with a report on Governor Nyesom Wike's impressive outing at the presidential primaries of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Despite having lost the presidential ticket of the People's Democratic Party to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike says the outcome of the contest shows that his state can no longer be treated as a second fiddle in national politics. Governor Wike made a remark on his return to Rivers State shortly after the PDP presidential primary election was concluded in Abuja.
At the just concluded presidential primaries of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Governor Nyesom Wike was a top contender who was upbeat about victory. Wike's popularity in the PDP is on account of the leadership role he assumed in 2015 when the PDP was roundly defeated by Nigeria's ruling party, the All Progressives Congress APC. Undeterred by the party's declining fortunes, Wike took a bold step to rebuild the PDP and strengthen it to bounce back to power. To this end, he had taken it upon himself to keep the party united and politically vibrant across states controlled by the APC. The Rivers State governor, who is generally known to be adept at the game of politics, had sensed the plot by the APC to pluck more states from the Niger Delta, a plan which he had foiled successfully after the 2015 general elections. It would be recalled that in the September 2020 Edo governorship election, Governor Wike had relocated to the state, which the APC had vowed to reclaim when Governor Godwin Obaseki defected to the PDP. As Director General of the Obaseki campaign organization, Wike fought assiduously to snatch victory from the jaws of imminent defeat, resulting in the re-election of Governor Obaseki. With his immense contributions to make the PDP a vibrant opposition party capable of relaunching itself to power, Wike was undoubtedly the most visible presidential aspirant in his party. However, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar finally clinched the party's ticket with a last-minute withdrawal from the contest by Governor Aminu Tambuwal, whose delegates consequently queued behind the former vice president. At the conclusion of the PDP presidential primaries, Wike is being hailed nationwide for his impressive outing as he demonstrated courage and doggedness in his quest to get the nomination of his party. In a recent post on Facebook, Senator Orji Uzor Kalu, a chieftain of the APC, wrote that, "I can only say that Wike is the winner of the game, for defying all odds to come second." In the same vein, chairman of the People's Democratic Party in Rivers State, Ambassador Desmond Akawo and Samuel Edem, an Abuja resident, maintained that Wike was the actual winner of the PDP presidential primaries.
If not because of the stepping down of Tambuwal, Wike could have emerged as the presidential candidate. We know politics is like that. There are betrayals. There are so many things that happen in politics. Conspiracy is there in politics. But Wike has tried.
Niger Delta is happy because you spoke for them. Today, our shoulders are high. We can go anywhere and speak about Rivers people. It's true. We saw a man called conspiracy. We saw a man called betrayal. But at the end of the day, you won a war.
Speaking shortly after the PDP presidential primaries, Governor Wike said South-South governors conspired against him.
Look at the region ganged up. Then your own region cannot gang up. You became tools to be used against the interests of your people. And you think you have won. You have lost. Shame to those who will sell out their own thing.
Governor Nyesom Wike, a grassroots politician who rose through the ranks to national limelight, is convinced that the outcome of the PDP presidential primaries should serve to remind the rest of the country that Rivers State can no longer be treated as a second fiddle in national politics.
It is God's will. Let us not bother ourselves so much. Anybody who wants to, anybody in the political history of this country, you can count on us. We are not a pushover. We are not.
In a commendable display of sportsmanship, Atiku had conferred with Wike immediately after the PDP presidential primaries. Atiku's friendly disposition is perhaps mindful of the fact that Wike governs Rivers State, the nation's treasure base, with a voting population of roughly 2.5 million people. Besides, Wike has proved to be in possession of a formidable political capital that the PDP needs to face the ruling APC in the 2023 presidential election. It is on the strength of these facts that concerned members of the PDP want Atiku to choose Wike as his running mate in the 2023 presidential election. Inside the Niger Delta.
Abuja-based human rights lawyer Frank Tietie is in the eye of the storm as state officials in Delta intensify attacks on him for describing Governor Ifeanyi Okowa as an unsuitable running mate for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the 2023 presidential election in Nigeria. During a recent interview on national television, Frank Tietie had described Okowa as a serial betrayer who will most likely act true to type if he's elected in a joint ticket with Atiku Abubakar. The following report examines the controversy trailing Frank Tietie's perception of the Delta State governor. Frank Tietie is a legal practitioner who doubles as a commentator on national issues. Last week on Arise TV, where he's a regular analyst, he told Arise News anchors that current governor of Delta State, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, who is currently being tipped as a running mate to Atiku Abubakar, should in no way whatsoever be considered for the position. According to Frank Tietie, Senator Okowa's unstable and continuously shifting loyalties and interests will make him an untrustworthy candidate for such a high office.
Governor Okowa stands as one of the #1 betrayers of Governor Wike, and he did the same thing to former Governor James Ibori. He hasn't governed Delta State very well. But again, he's a very smart politician, there's no doubt about that, and every president should be wary of the kind of personality of Governor Okowa. He will not make a very good vice president because he is a very fantastic schemer. It is going to be a very bad sell for the PDP if he's ever considered as a vice presidential candidate to Atiku Abubakar. He should not be considered at all.
While responding to Tietie's comments, Chief Press Secretary to Governor Okowa, Olisa Ifejika, described his comments as not just unfortunate, but malicious. He said Governor Okowa was more than qualified for the vice president position, as he had served 8 years as commissioner in Delta State, secretary to the state government, senator, and now executive governor of Delta State. Ifejika said Governor Okowa has performed excellently as governor of Delta State in the last 7 years.
That Tietie man, he claims to be a Delta. I understand he's from Kokori in Ethiopia, East local government of this state. If he has been to Delta, where he claims to come from, because I am doubting if it's true he's from Delta. If he's from Delta, Deltans, non-Deltans in this country are applauding, clapping for governor for what he's doing in Delta. Delta is one state that is mini Nigeria. There are so many major towns. In Delta, Asaba, the state capital, gives them attention like Warri, like Saple, like Uweli, as Abo, as Ole, many places to attend to. And that governor has been doing in this state.
While agreeing with Barrister Tietie, Secretary to the Warri Consultative Forum, Amechi Ogbushe Ogbona, said any Southerner being considered for the vice presidency slot in PDP must be someone who has displayed a desire for the promotion of Southern interest. He said Governor Okowa had rather worked against the interest of Southern Nigeria.
He hosted the Southern Governors Forum meeting, where it was endorsed that no going back for Southern president. He went behind to betray. So once you're a traitor, you're a traitor. What he has done is wrong. If he ever tries it that he wants to be VP to Atiku, the whole Southern state will not vote for Atiku. The whole Southern state, because the Southerners are bitter, highly bitter, coming to bring another betrayer to be his running mate. Stinks. Stinks. Okowa needs to apologize to Deltans for betraying the interests of Southern Nigeria, for the interests of Northern Nigeria.
Engineer Arutoho Iswoswo, a Deltan, says Governor Okowa's performance in Delta State in the last 7 years is, to say the least, disappointing and will not offer any advantage to the Atiku ticket.
Yes, to a large extent, I agree with Barrister Tietie. In terms of what he's bringing to the ticket as a candidate, as a VP nominee, nothing beside being a member of the PDP, because his last 7 years in Delta State is nothing to write home about. This is the state, and for those who are used to viewing edited and well-made videos of Delta in stations outside, they should come to Delta State, come to Warri, go to Agbo, go to Ole, go around the state, and you will know that the state is nothing to write home about.
River State indigene and supporter of Governor Nyesom Wike, Sonny Okocha, says the position of running mate to Atiku should be one for which Governor Nyesom Wike has a right of first refusal. He advised Atiku not to make the mistake of considering Governor Okowa for the position.
If PDP make a choice to choose His Excellency, the Governor of Delta State,
as the vice president of this country, the Niger Delta people, the friends that know the meaning of having a good leader, we shall lead a special delegation, a special protest to protect in Niger Delta because he does not deserve it. You don't throw away your brother in the midnight and come in the morning to assume the position. It's a no answer for me.
In the very near future, PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar is expected to name a running mate. In making that choice, he will have to consider several factors, including the continuous unity of the party, acceptance of such a person by the party and the nation at large, as well as the competence and loyalty of the person. Maybe far and above these other considerations will be the fact that Atiku Abubakar will have to secure the buy-in of Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, who commands a large followership within the party, if the PDP wants to present a united front that will hope to win the general elections in 2023.
Inside the Niger Delta, Azikiel Group, oil and gas, dredging, power and air transportation. Azikiel Group, petroleum product sufficiency, energy sustainability and infrastructure development. Everything home, all in one place. Visit Home Options today at 22 Aba Port Harcourt Express Road, Port Harcourt, Rivers State, or call 080-998-08678 or 080-331-34055 or visit our website www.homeoptionsng.com.
A coalition of youth leaders in the Niger Delta has passed a vote of confidence in the interim administrator of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, Dr. Akwa Effiong, for what it attributes to his drive for rapid development of Nigeria's oil-rich region. At a brief meeting recently in Port Harcourt, the Niger Delta youth leaders called on President Muhammadu Buhari to inaugurate a new NDDC board, but appealed to Mr. President to include Dr. Akwa in the incoming board to bring his wealth of experience to bear in managing affairs of the new NDDC.
At a recent meeting in Port Harcourt, members of the coalition of Niger Delta youth leaders had cause to appraise the current state of affairs in the NDDC and the Niger Delta region and arrived at the conclusion that the commission had fared better under the President Muhammadu Buhari administration. Spokesperson of the youth body, Comrade Nwokocha Anayochukwu, recalled that while the NDDC forensic audit was ongoing, President Buhari had directed the intervention agency to resuscitate and complete critical projects that had been abandoned for many years, a task which he said the commission under the leadership of its interim administrator, Dr. Effiong Akwa, had carried out diligently.
The following achievements and more have been carried out by the interim administrator, CEO, since he assumed duty, namely the completion and commissioning of Niger Delta Development Commission headquarters that was abandoned 20 years ago. Secondly, completion and commissioning of ultra-modern hostel block at the University of Uyo. Completion and commissioning of 3-kilometer road of Chief Ambakaderemo Road at Kiabodo, Burutu Local Government, Delta State. Completion and commissioning of SVU quarters of the Nigerian Police in Omagwa, Rivers State. If this type of commitment has been exhibited by former leadership of the commission, the story of the NDDC would have been different.
Dr. Effiong Akwa, a chartered accountant and lawyer, was in December 2020 appointed interim administrator of the NDDC to supervise the forensic audits of the commission and implement policies to aid development in the region. In addition to the completion of long-abandoned projects in the region, the NDDC, under the leadership of Akwa, graduated some 200 ICT trainees and donated science equipment to 46 schools across the Niger Delta in May last year. President of the Coalition of Niger Delta Youth Leaders, Anthony Josiah, popularly known as General Ocean, and Innocent Orama, urged President Buhari to appoint a new NDDC board while pleading that Dr. Akwa should be part of the incoming board based on his experience and achievements in the last 18 months.
We need the board of NDDC. We beg for President Muhammadu Buhari, our father, let him bring the board and include our son, the IA, Dr. Akwa Effiong Okon, because I believe with what he has done in Niger Delta, we believe he will be in a good position to handle anything in NDDC for us.
The administrator has done what he's supposed to do and he's doing well. So if they want to include him in the new board, personally, I will admit that. That's the standard it is for him. So I give him a kudos to that effect.
President Buhari in October 2019 ordered a forensic audit of NDDC activities covering a period of 18 years, dating back to its inception in 2001. With the successful completion of the forensic audit, recommendations in its final report are expected to serve as governance templates for the incoming board. To further strengthen the capacity of the anticipated board, the Coalition of Niger Delta Youth Leaders wants President Buhari to create ample room for professionals.
Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, making a difference.
Inside the Niger Delta. Following their recent peaceful demonstration to remind Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State of his promise to fix a portion of the deplorable Emevo-Orogun Road, youths of Emevo community in Isoko North local government area have been sanctioned by authorities of the local government council. A 3-month suspension of youth activities was slammed on youths in Emevo community for drawing the ire of government. The youths, however, say the suspension order from the local council was a breach of their fundamental human rights and have since engaged a lawyer to file an action in court challenging the suspension. Following the demise of Honorable Timo Wofere, former majority leader of the Delta State House of Assembly, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) fixed April 10, 2021 as date for a by-election to fill the vacant seat. Preparatory to the election, Delta State Governor Senator Ifeanyi Okowa led a campaign team to Emevo community in Isoko North local government area, where he asked the people to vote for the candidate of his party, the People's Democratic Party (PDP). In return, he promised to fix a section of the deplorable Emevo-Orogun Road. Over 1 year after that promise, nothing has been done on the road. Kenneth Egwari, a youth of Emevo community, says to draw Governor Okowa's attention to his promise, men, women, and youths from the community staged a peaceful protest.
Nothing has been done to the road, not even a chip of sand. So now we have been asking questions. For 20-something years, they keep promising us, we will do the road. We, the youth, we came up, okay, how do we send a message to the governor? So, okay, we went back on a peaceful demonstration, protest. At least that we send a message to the governor that, please, come and redeem your promises. You are the Ekwe can do in the English. Okay, that was how we carried out this protest, and it was a peaceful protest.
Unhappy about the protest, some leaders of the community and political appointees of the state from Emevo community, led by Dr. Paul Owe, addressed a press conference to denounce their own people.
Some misguided youths from this Emevo community, alongside with their collaborators from outside here, stormed the Ughelli Asaba Highway in a protest. They were protesting to draw the attention of the governor of the state, Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, to the deplorable state of the Emevo-Orogun Road and asking him to keep to the promise he made to us last year. On behalf of the Emevo community, I apologize to His Excellency the Governor of Delta State, Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, for this ill-timed and malicious protests.
Godwin Oganerubo, a youth from Emevo community, expressed shock at the action of Dr. Owe and some elders of the community.
His press briefing actually defined that he is against the youth. And it is wrong. Those names he called, I was very, very disappointed. Because after that protest, any wise political leader was supposed to borrow a leaf from the action. Help to move that message which the youth has passed to the appropriate quarter. But rather, he resulted in calling us name. Maybe his intention was to paint whatever the youth has done bad, to make the government know that what the youth have done is irrelevant. It shouldn't mind us. What they have done is actually to sabotage the effort of the youth who have come out to push for the development of our community.
If they thought that was the end of the matter, they were mistaken, as what followed next was a 3-month suspension order on youth activities in Emevo community by the Isoko North Local Government Council. David Jarikre, legal practitioner and counsel to Emevo youths, describes the suspension as unlawful and said he had already written to the local council authority about their intention to challenge the suspension in court.
Most certainly, the suspension of youth activities in Emevo is an act of oppression, and it's also an act of intimidation. The reasons are not far-fetched. The political class within the community feels threatened by the fact that youth of the community are now recognizing their rights. Before now, they come and they shun out decisions to the people, expecting the people to just obey. But as it is presently now, the youth have now recognized their rights. They know that even when the political class refuse to do it, they can on their own agitate for their rights. We believe that it is the political class that now feels threatened. Those are the people who are now using the local government council as an instrument of intimidation. And the chairman of the local government council has to call himself to order. He has to call himself to order because one good turn deserves another. They come to the community to campaign. When it comes to when they are to carry out their own responsibility to the people, they chicken out.
When I contacted the chairman of Isoko North Local Government Council, Honorable Christian Itiere, he confirmed the suspension order and said he took the decision because the youths blocked the Ughelli-Asaba highway during the protest, which he said did not get the blessing of some elders of the community. Secretary of the Emevo Youth Council, John Ode Orenelukome, says up till now, no work has been done on the road. He, however, appealed to Governor Ifeanyi Okowa to be a man of his word and ensure the construction of the road before he leaves office in May next year.
My message to the governor is to appeal to the governor to please come and fulfill his promise. All we are still asking for is for him to come and fulfill his promise. And we, the Emevo Youth, has resolved, if the road is not constructed, there will be no campaign, there will be no election, there will be no voting in Emevo.
The Emevo-Orogun Road is originally a project of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. But to ensure he got the political support of Emevo community, Governor Okowa had promised to construct a section of the road. Having given the PDP their total support, youths in Emevo are now asking Governor Okowa, who prides himself as Ekweme, to live up to that appellation by doing what he says he will do.
Inside the Niger Delta.
And with that report, we draw the curtain on the program. Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region will be back same time, same station next week. Until then, you can follow us on our social media handles showing right now on your screen. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NDN TV Nigeria. Until next week, I am Mahmoud Akuga, thanking you for staying tuned. Bye for now.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect am. If you no talk, dem go beat you. Na 2,500 they pay.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa.
On Plus TV News now, workers trapped as youth ground FCTA secretariats. Tinubu visit Buhari Oshibanjo orders after primary victory. Navy uncovers illegal crude oil markets in Rivers community. Good evening, I'm Olamide Adiemi. This is the news now. Some staff of the FCT administration have been trapped as protesting FCT indigents invaded the secretariat premises to ground all activities. The youth vowed to occupy the minister's office until he swears in chairman-elect of the 6 area councils in line with yesterday's FCT High Court order. Confused staff trapped in their various offices have been asked by the protesters to forget about returning home to their family members. The FCT ministers and the permanent secretary were all not in the office at the time of the invasion. Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Bola Tinubu, has paid a thank you visit to President Muhammadu Buhari at the State House in Abuja. During the visit, he pledged to sustain President Buhari's legacies if he is elected president in 2023 and also commended the president for being neutral during the APC presidential primaries. Asiwaju Tinubu, accompanied on the visit by the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and the CEO of Wando Group, Wale Tinubu, was also at the Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo's residence on an unscheduled visit.
He promised the entire country and the world that he will build a legacy of transparency and consistency. Legacy of level playing ground for all the candidates. He will be committed to democratic principles and values, and he did so. He didn't endorse anybody. He didn't impose anybody. He did not at any time attempt to tinker with the process of this election to favor one tribe or the other. He was steadfast. He was trustworthy. He was dependable. He was a leader, a great leader. If you have to give it to anybody yesterday, it's not my victory that is important. It's the process and the management of that election that gave it to President Muhammadu Buhari.
As the battle for the 2023 presidency begins, most of the political parties have nominated their flag bearers, which include the APC and the PDP. A cross-section of APC supporters has reacted to the victory of the former governor of Lagos State, Senator Bola Tinubu, at the just concluded presidential primaries in Abuja. Most of the people interviewed by Plus TV correspondent Francis said that the former Lagos State governor has the capacity, network and political structures to win in 2023, while some others are of the opinion that his network and contacts will guarantee him victory against the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party.
Atiku will run for his money. In fact, Atiku will be the one chasing us.
Tinubu will come out top. There's no single doubt about it. If you look at Tinubu's record, past record, when he was governor of Lagos State, without the allocation from the federal, Tinubu was able to develop Lagos to where it was. And above all, Tinubu is a destabilized Nigeria. He has network across the country. Tinubu also is a builder. He has raised a lot of people. Most of the people he has raised have become governors, some have become ministers, and he has continued to turn out quality persons.
Qualities. So Tinubu was father for APC. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, their leader. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, their straight man. Even Tinubu talk straight.
Why I like Tinubu? Tinubu is my father friend, so I must like Tinubu. Yes, it's a foundation, not the party. You can never leave the party down.
Tinubu is man of authority, he's a man of equality, he's the man that has the capacity of building. Because why I put it like that is that he has different branches, he has people, he has connection, he brings up, he groom people he grooms leaders so that they will come together and form a particular crew that will make Nigeria look well. You that lay the foundation of houses, only you that know where the house started. So I believe he can fight for us, he can fight for Nigeria, and we can have better Nigeria with him.
While PDP in Ogun State has begun moves to reconcile all aspirants that did not get the party ticket across elective positions at the just concluded primaries, with 39 elective positions contested for by over 100 aspirants, there is need for the party as a matter of urgency to unify all members for the best interest of the party come 2023.
Naturally, after the primary elections, what you follow is reconciliation, because there's no way primary election will not leave more people aggrieved. We have only 39 positions, struggled for by over 100 people, and if 39 eventually, became the candidate of the party, it means that more than that population will not have their ambition realized. And
trust me, there's hope. There's a lot of people coming up. Everything's good. There's going to be a lot of changes, because if you can see like a lot of candidates coming up, there's going to be a lot of changes. Because personally, I know a lot of people that have contested that under PDP, even APC. To be honest with you, I want everybody to be hopeful. We don't have any other country to go to. We're just going to have to try our best.
We will continue to point out to the people that they have gradually destroyed the educational system. They have turned us into a state lacking a healthcare system, except to go on the major roads. Our trunksy roads don't exist anymore. The government is totally lacking of empathy. The ideological base is gone. Where do we go from here? A state totally devoid of direction. You must bring the private sector into this.
Now, Adewale Adebayo has emerged the presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party for the forthcoming 2023 general elections. The chairman of the SDP Electoral Committee, Umar Ado, declared him the flag bearer of the party after polling 1,526 votes out of 1,710 accredited delegates as the SDP National Convention presidential primaries held at the International Conference Center in Abuja. Adebayo, while giving his acceptance speech, said that his emergence exemplifies social justice in Nigeria, stating that Nigerians will enjoy the full dividends of democracy if voted in as the next president.
Your money is in the pockets of APC and PDP. Your money is not in China. Your money is not in the central bank. Your money is in their pocket. We will come out and show to the Nigerian people that food, water, light, housing, education, medical care, they are not prayer points. They are your rights. No one is allowed to call himself president of hungry people. No one is allowed to call himself a commander-in-chief of people who are running from bandits. Nobody can call himself a senator, a governor, over people whose children are at home without education. So, what do you do about Nigeria? You do 5 things.
The convention also witnessed swearing in of newly elected national officials of the party, with Shehu Gabam as the national chairman and Dr. Agoloye as the national secretary of the party. Moving on, a Catholic priest, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia, has won the governorship primary election rerun conducted by the All Progressive Congress APC in 12 local government areas and 3 council wards in Baroka local government in Benue State. A correspondent in Makurdi, Francis Terra, filed in this report presented from our studios.
Announcing the results at the APC State Secretariat in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, Chairman of the Rerun Committee, Joel Omajali, said a total number of 366,546 voters were registered, with 292,930 accredited, and a total number of 270,353 votes validly cast. Father Alia polled 195,314 votes to come out victorious. According to Omajali, the rerun, which was conducted in Ogbadibo, Ushongo, Konshisha, Uju, Kwande, Agatu, Oimini, Ado, Obi, Okpoko, and Upper local government areas, was described as free and fair.
Barnabas Gamani scored 3831. Michael Kasi Audaka scored 3517. Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia scored the highest vote of 195315. Yes, Father. And he is hereby declared the winner of this.
Shortly after the declaration of results, the state deputy chairman of the party, Stephen Sav, on behalf of the state chairman, Comrade Austin Agada, presided over a congress that affirmed the outcome of the rerun governorship primary election.
We are now gathered here as a special congress to affirm what the committee has done. We've been able to produce a candidate that we go into 2023 general elections. Yes. He is Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia.
Benue APC had conducted its governorship primary election on the 27th of May with Alia as the winner. But some of the aspirants, including Barnabas Gemade, Mike Andoka, among others, petitioned the National Working Committee of the party. They had called for a cancellation of the election, pointing out various electoral malpractices.
Now, to improve health outcomes for Nigerians, there is an urgent need to address the healthcare system and the broader socio-economic challenges. CEO of Nigerian Support Trust Fund, Dr. Fejiro Chinyenwoko, said this at an event to recognize outstanding Nigerians for their philanthropic gestures towards strengthening the nation's healthcare system. Justin Akadoye tells us more.
Enough funds, fewer healthcare workers, and poor hospital utilization. The NSF explains that weak healthcare system is underpinned by unclear governance, poor financing, inadequate human resource, and poor information systems. However, with a target to support the vaccination of 1 million Nigerians across 6 states, the fund, in collaboration with the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, surpassed this target by 60%. So what is next for Nigerians beyond vaccination?
What we did was to assist the NPHCDA to actually roll out vaccination in 6 geopolitical zones faster and quicker than they could have done. And it was a fantastic collaboration. And that's what we talk about strengthening. We are not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're not trying to do anything super new. We're just trying to strengthen what we have on ground.
Access to care is a big issue because we know that finances is a major issue for many Nigerians. 4 in 10 Nigerians are living on the poverty line. And so if they cannot access care because of finances, they most likely die from preventable causes. So we are trying, one priority area we are looking at this year is to improve access to healthcare. And we know that access to healthcare is not it. Also the supply of healthcare. We know that healthcare workers are leaving the country in the drones. A lot of, we don't have as much healthcare workers as we need.
At this gathering, these Nigerians are celebrated for their passion, They speak of their inspiration, which is born out of the need to transform the lives of vulnerable Nigerians, as well as reskilling the nation's workforce and also strengthening its healthcare systems.
Given the impact of COVID at that time and how it brought so much focus on the inadequacies of our health sector, so naturally strengthening the health sector became the focus of our conversation.
Protecting vulnerable Nigerians, right? That is key because I think for organizations like this, such people sometimes are neglected, they are not catered for, they are not remembered.
We don't have a social security system, so taking care of the vulnerable people in our society is critical. We must look after our neighbors. In terms of healthcare, I have personally been affected by the lack of good healthcare system in Nigeria, and I'm totally passionate about that.
The World Bank says over 95 million Nigerians are estimated to become poor by the end of 2022. What can be done in terms of improving access to healthcare?
Poverty has so many ramifications. It's not only healthcare that will solve poverty. Education will solve poverty. Wealth creation will solve poverty. But the truth is that all these various legs need to be addressed.
In all, these advocates want to see a shift from paper-based data collection, incomplete and inadequate records, as well as poor disease surveillance. Justin Akadonye, Plus TV News, Lagos.
No fewer than 50 schoolgirls of the Federal Government Girls College FGGC Yola have pledged to champion an advocacy against gender-based violence in Adamawa State. The students made the pledge on the sidelines of a one-day workshop on gender and social norms for girls in selected schools in the state.
The project, which targets 250 schoolgirls, is organized by the Sultan Foundation for Peace and Development in conjunction with Spotlight Initiative. Some of the students pledged to take the new message outside the school walls, as according to them, they serve as the impediment towards the realization of personal goals of members of the society.
Gender-based violence comes in different cases. You see whereby a lady wears short clothes, short miniskirts, and goes out into the society, and it can attract the opposite sex, and which can lead to rape. And in the essence of the rape, it can cause unwanted pregnancy.
Okay, for those that are being perpetrated by their close relatives, it is more advisable that children should not be left alone at home with close relatives of opposite sex, because you don't know what may happen at any time. Temptations may come at any time. Parents should be have listening ears to their children, because sometimes the children do not know how to avoid it. But when the parents educate their children, they will be able to avoid it when it comes their way.
Appreciating the organizers, the school's vice principal said that the gesture could not have come at a better time. Tanimu urged the girls to pay attention to details for maximum impact.
I'm sure the school has a club for this sensitization on this, so they are going to enlighten us more on this.
Also speaking, District Head of Jury Hamad Mustafa thanked the foundation and all its partners for their effort at curtailing gender-based violence in the state.
I understand that we have a GBB club in the school, so we educate you more on GBB, as it starts you on the causes, the effects, and the consequences of this violence against women and girls in our society.
He said girls must understand what constitutes gender-based violence in order to be able to guide against being victims of the scourge.
You do not have to be hard on yourself or be ashamed. Rather, speak out and get help so that the perpetrators can be brought to justice. This was the summation of inductees of the 2021-2022 report Women Female Reporters Leadership Program held in Lagos. Plus TV correspondent Love Ikuku Ideko tells us more on this report.
This is a gathering of very powerful network of women in journalism.
They have distinguished themselves in investigative journalism. Having gone through rigorous training, mentorship, produced stories and initiated leadership projects, they are now ready and poised to be inducted into the fellowship.
Look across our newsrooms, all over, whether it's radio, print, broadcast, there's no question at all that women are underrepresented. And this initiative is very important because it empowers our women folk and then gives them the opportunity to take over the industry.
Doshima Abu, Bukola Samuel Wemimo, Kimberly Wachiku, Annette Felix are among the 21 female reporters added to the network for the year 2021-2022 fellows.
It's been career transforming and life changing. It has helped me to step outside of myself, step outside of my personal challenges and be more compassionate and be desirous of helping other people.
I started this program while I was, a staff, a reporter and presenter at Plus TV Africa, and the fact that, the station gave me that opportunity to also carry out a leadership project where I trained about 9 female reporters and interns at Plus TV Africa and do a story project about an issue that's so sensitive, that's sexual and gender-based violence. It really is an honor for me.
This fellowship is a blessing. I'm saying it with a wide smile on my face because, I've had people even call me to say, we need to have you come train other journalists outside my circle, outside my immediate environment, on a continental level to say, come and replicate what you've learned from this. Come and teach other journalists. Come to our school and teach young girls and young boys about sexual and gender-based violence. So it's not just about my job professionally growing and mentoring my colleague. It's about taking it to journalists who are outside my school.
Over the months, we've seen a number of young girls, children, being raped by those who are supposed to protect them. And so this has made me more intentional about telling your story, going to them and telling those stories, and holding government accountable.
As damaging as sexual and gender-based violence is to the dignity and sanity of any person, they agreed that survivors must be willing to seek help.
We will not stop talking, we'll keep talking until something happens. And we'll keep reporting these issues until we see result. And that's the goal. That we'll not just tell reports, but when we tell this report, we get NGOs involved and we get every organs of government, anybody responsible involved until we see that we see that these stories come to a logical conclusion. Either those who perpetrate this ill are held to account or face the law.
I would say to someone who is a survivor of sexual and gender-based violence, do not be afraid to get help. You would get justice if you stick at it. Don't be quiet, don't be silent. This culture of silence is the reason why the perpetrators think they can get away with it and the circle continues.
The induction of these 21 female reporters makes it 73 fellows since the inception of the fellowship started in 2017 and the Report on Women program since 2014. From Lagos, Love Ikuku Oyedoku, Plus TV News.
Moving on, an advisor to the Northern Nigerian community in Lagos is advising the state government on a way to manage Okada riders in the state. The Chief Marafa of the Arawa Fulani Chief Council in Lagos, Audu Maru, thinks the state should mandate garage managers and transportation tax collectors to do due diligence on all Okada riders. He said this will include getting their biodata, asking them to provide guarantees and issuing number jackets to riders. Is also pushing for the improvement of alternative means of transportation.
Okada, everybody knows that Okada make business to move faster in Lagos. And when Lagos State, I know they are capable of doing that. When Lagos State say they want to ban Okada, I think there must be a provision for people that are living around there, because almost half of or 1/3 of Lagos State people are used to that Okada. You can see that a car owner, when there is hold up and he has an appointment or he's going to urgent meeting, you will see him dropped from the car and leave the car to the driver, and he will now pick Okada. Now, I think they have to sit down and make check balance and see the way they can just work this thing out so that it will not affect the people living in Lagos.
The Nigerian Navy ship NNS Pathfinder said it has intensified efforts in the fight against illegal bunkering and oil theft activities within the area of responsibility. The commander NNS Sulaiman Ibrahim disclosed this in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, when his men uncovered an illegal crude oil market in the creeks. The reports.
In line with the mandate of Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Awal Gambo to maintain zero tolerance for criminal activities within the Nigerian maritime environment, the Nigerian Navy has busted an illegal crude oil market located at Cawthorne Channel near Obumakiri community in Dengama local government area of Rivers State and recovered an unspecified amount of crude oil shipped on from a manifold in the area. Commander Ibrahim explained that the feat was achieved following a ground and area operation code named Operation Dangata Dabarawo, which means Stop the Thief, launched in the state.
There is where we refer to as a market square. That is over 50 square kilometers where stolen crude is illegally cooked. Along the line, we were very curious to find out where the source of the crude oil that they take to Market Square to cook, where does it come from? Our tactical riverine squadron was able to identify the source of the crude oil theft. Then with the aid of the helicopter, so I'm able to deploy. And then when we got here, we discovered 4 boats, but one has sunk already. So 3 of them are still floating, and we've equally discovered the manifold where this product is being stolen from.
Commander Ibrahim, while reaffirming its determination to end the oil theft, reiterated that the Navy has resolved to deploy all necessary measures to checkmate the ugly trend in Nigeria's territorial waters.
The Nigerian Navy has launched an operation which, in the first instance, is going to be for 90 days, and then after that, they'll do a reassessment. And then if there's a need to extend, that will be done. And the JTF equally has launched Operation Octopus Grip. So these 2 operations are running concurrently. So as it stands, there are 2 ongoing operations, all aimed at boosting crude oil production for Nigeria, and at the same time stopping all of those people that have made it a part of their lives to steal and deny the nation its legitimate earnings.
The commander pointed out that those were currently on the trial of the fleeing suspects and their collaborators.
The National Union of Road Transport Workers Imo State Chapter, in partnership with Africa Network and Small Arms, has organized a roadshow and a one-day public lecture against gun violence and light weapon in Owerri. The state chairman of the union in the state, Comrade Samuel Ude, called on the government to intensify efforts at stopping the circulation of small arms and light weapon among unauthorized members of the public. On his part, the representative said the team was in Owerri to preach against gun violence, which is as a result of the activities of unknown gunmen in the state.
It is heard everywhere about young people carrying arms, guns. Just barely a week ago, we saw in social media what happened in Owerri, where a group of men that were carrying guns entered into a church where people came to worship God and open fire. In fact, that alone pushed us here to join in the crusade to campaign against small arms and gun violence.
If you watch all over Nigeria now, what is happening in terms of security, insecurity is disturbing. And we saw reason going by the number of National Union of Road Transport Workers all over the world, all over Nigeria. They have their numbers, what we're going to do is to integrate them, share information. They are a source of intelligence, and sometimes they go beyond where security agencies cannot go, and we can work together to make Nigeria a peaceful society. This is the beginning of mobilizing Nigerians towards peace.
We have had enough gun violence, especially in Imo State, and we are saying no to it. We are preaching against gun violence, and we are preaching against the proliferation of small arms and light weapons. Gun violence is a menace to the society, and we are preaching to eradicate it.
Moving on, the Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has directed the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Professor Zaccheaus Adango, to commence diligent prosecution of the alleged illegal financial dealings involving Mr. Rotimi Amechi, Mr. Tony Cole, Sahara Energy, and others over the sale of state assets. Wike gave the directive today at the Executive Chamber of Government House, Port Harcourt, after swearing in 3 new commissioners. The new commissioners are Professor Zaccheaus Adango as Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Honorable Isaac Kamalu as Commissioner of Finance, Budget and Economic Planning, and Dr. George Kelly Dakarinama Alabo as Commissioner for Works and Special Projects. An Accra High Court sentenced the killers of Mrs. Funke Olakare, daughter of Afenifere leader Pa Ruben Fasharoti, to death by hanging. The convicts include Mohammed Shehu Usman, Mazaji Lawal, and Adamu Adamu were sentenced to death by hanging or firing scored by Justice Williams Olamide for offences ranging from conspiracy to murder, kidnapping, and armed robbery. The 4th accused person, Awalu Abubakar, was discharged and acquitted for aiding and abetting. Mrs. Olakare was killed in July 12, 2019 along Ore-Jebu-De Road in Odibo local government area of Ondo State when she was on her way from Akure to Lagos to attend a social function. Her driver, Femi Ajayi, was kidnapped and spent 7 days in captivity of the kidnappers.
Yes, this judgment is a judgment that is for the common masses of this country that are highly disturbed by the wave of killings in the land. This judgment has put an end to so many cases of unresolved murder and killings that have been taking place not only in the southwestern part of Nigeria and part of this country where innocent people are daily killed.
The verdict and the judgment of the court has been delivered in this case. We appreciate the court for the diligence of the court in this case. You also observe that one among the defendants was exonerated by the court from the judgment of the court. In the interim, we're going to take a critical look of the judgment of the court. We're going to diagnose it, look at area where issues can be formulated, issue of appeal can be formulated.
Reactions have continued to trail the emergence of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as the presidential flag bearer of the All Progressive Congress. That's on Street Views. Take a listen.
I'm not happy at all. Because the way this country is going now, we need a vibrant young man, somebody that has something to move this country to the next level. Atiku Abubakar, I believe he will clinch the ticket of presidency because he comes from North where they always come with block vote. And I believe his people, his people will vote for him.
I tell you that I'm very, very happy. I'm from Adamawa State. And the opposition of the Tinubu is from Adamawa State. That's Atiku Abubakar. And I don't have anything that Atiku bring to Adamawa State when he was a vice president. And talk less of he want to become a president. So I prepare Tinubu more than Atiku. I have 80% assurance Tinubu will win this election.
Actually, I'm partially happy. The reason why I say I'm partially happy is that it's this set of people that are doing it. Not that he's not a good person or not, but Is he going to stay on his word? Is he going to create employment? Look at Lagos now, transport, fighting, everything, and then that's not the issue. Chance against Abubakar is like, let me just say, 30-70. I give him 30 and I give Atiku 70.
I'm happy because there's nobody that can match Atiku in that APC caucus. And if they place Tinubu and Atiku side by side, I will prefer Tinubu. He has affected so many lives. That is it.
To tell you the truth, I've not been happy ever since I heard that, to tell you the truth, because these same guys have been the people ruling over us. They've ruled our fathers. They deceived us the last time. Right now, I don't really know who to pick, but my mind goes for Peter Obi.
Let's give it to Tinubu. Atiku has no chance. He has no chance. I'm telling you. When it comes to politics, playing politics, intellect, give it to Tinubu.
This is the time for him to prove his popularity this time around, because he's contesting with the giant. The other one he did is a domestic election. This one is general. After that, what we now know, Atiku is very powerful. I can see it's only Atiku that is powerful. Kwakwaso and Obi, no.
Still ahead, protests flare over anti-Muslim comments by ruling party in India. Details when we return.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment of winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Moving to other parts of Africa, Pope Francis has been forced to postpone his trip to Africa, scheduled for July the 2nd to 7th due to knee pain. The announcement comes a few days after the Vatican had released a detailed program outline for the 6-day trip Kinshasa, Goma, and Juba. The statement did not mention the trip to Canada scheduled for 24th to 30th of July, during which the Pope is expected to renew his apology for decades of abuse in residential schools for indigenous people. Meanwhile, the Tanzanian foreign minister said during a visit to Cairo yesterday that the next United Nations Summit on climate change to be hosted by Egypt is a chance to highlight African priorities. It is a chance to show the world that if we work together, we can be able to overcome these challenges of climate change, said Liberator Mula Mula. The UN's COP27 conference will be held in the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh in November. Mula Mula spoke after speaking with Egyptian Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry in Cairo, where she also met with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi earlier in the day. South Africa's public prosecutor advocate Bosiswe has been suspended from office. President Cyril Ramaphosa put the suspension in effect yesterday. South Africa's constitution provides that the president may suspend the public protector or any member of a Chapter 9 institution at any time after the start of proceedings by a committee of the National Assembly for their removal. Her suspension comes after she confirmed on Monday that she would investigate Ramaphosa for allegedly breaching the Executive Code of Ethics relating to alleged criminal activities at his firm. Now, Equatorial Guinea's Vice President Teodoro Obiang threatened today to expel the French ambassador over a row triggered by a corruption case in Paris. A top French court last year upheld a 3-year suspended term against Obiang over property bought in France with funds suspected to have come from plundered state assets. The decision opened the way to confiscating property in Paris top and Avenue, a 3,000 square meter mansion worth an estimated 107 million euros that houses Equatorial Guinea's embassy as well as apartments. An appeal court on Wednesday rejected Equatorial Guinea's bid to overturn the ruling, opening the way in theory for the embassy to be forced out of the mansion. Ethiopia has expressed interest in resuming talks with Egypt and Sudan on a huge controversial Blue Nile Dam, which is expected to be Africa's largest hydroelectric power plant. Ethiopia's ambassador to the United States, who once acted as the country's negotiator on the dam, said this during a meeting with the U.S. Special Envoy to the Horn of Africa, Mike Hammer. A statement by Ethiopia's foreign ministry today cited the ambassador as highlighting Ethiopia's interest to resume the African Union-led trilateral negotiation over the Jared or Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. The multi-billion-dollar project is expected to bring electricity to millions of off-grid Ethiopians, but Sudan and Egypt fear it will reduce the amount of water they receive from the Nile River. Zimbabweans are finding it increasingly difficult to make ends meet. Now, since the start of the war in Ukraine, Zimbabwe's inflation rate has shot up from 66% to more than 130%, according to official statistics. The war is blamed for rising fuel and food prices.
In May, Finance Minister Mthuli Ncube told Parliament that the conflict in Ukraine had upset the already fragile economy, causing currency volatility and inflation. Many fear Zimbabwe could return to the hyperinflation of 2008, which reached 500 billion%, according to the International Monetary Fund. At that time, plastic bags full of 100 trillion Zimbabwe dollar banknotes were not enough to buy groceries. The US dollar continues to dominate, with prices in local currency often benchmarked against the greenback, whose rates are largely determined by the flourishing illegal market. The 3 largest teachers' unions are demanding the government pay their salaries in US dollars.
Now, the Ngobila Beach Market in Kinshasa was calm ahead of a visit of Banjo's King Philip, his wife Mathilde, and Congo's First Lady Denise. It is in a joyous and relaxed atmosphere that the market vendors were getting ready and displaying their loincloths. As the royal couple and the Congolese First Lady toured the market yesterday, the royals chatted with the vendors and hailed businesswomen who carry part of the economy. A recognition for these vendors, who now hope more tourists will follow in the footsteps of Queen Mathilde and First Lady Denise, who wore colorful wax print dresses. And outside Africa, the UN Human Rights Office said today that it was concerned about the situation of 3 foreigners who were captured while fighting for Ukraine and have been sentenced to death in one of Russia's proxies in eastern Ukraine. Two Britons and a Moroccan received a death sentence yesterday from a court in the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic. The UN Human Rights Office is concerned about the so-called Supreme Court of the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic sentencing 3 servicemen to death, said the OHCHR spokeswoman Ravina Shamdasani.
We are concerned. The UN Human Rights Office is concerned about the so-called Supreme Court of the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic sentencing 3 servicemen to death. Now, these were, as you said, citizens of foreign countries who were captured in Mariupol for being mercenaries. According to the Chief Command of Ukraine, all the men were part of the Ukrainian armed forces, and if that is the case, they should not be considered as mercenaries. Since 2015, we have observed that the so-called judiciary in these self-proclaimed republics has not complied with essential fair trial guarantees, such as public hearings, independence, impartiality of the courts, and the right not to be compelled to testify. Such trials against prisoners of war amount to a war crime. In the case of the use of the death penalty, fair trial guarantees are, of course, all the more important.
Thousands of protesters took to the street of Karachi today over derogatory remarks made about the Prophet Muhammad by 2 former members of India's ruling party. Crowds of protesters burned an effigy depicting suspended Janata Party spokeswoman Napo Sharma, who, along with another party official, made comments on the Prophet and his private life earlier this month. Protesters from Tehrik-i-Labad, Pakistan, religious and political party marched through the streets, joined by crowds of people from Al-Sunnat wal Jamaat, a political and religious group. They chanted slogans demanding the expulsion of an Indian High Commissioner and the boycott of Indian products. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government has faced backlash from Muslims around the world on the remarks, which were made by 2 senior officials of India's ruling BJP party. Congressional hearings into the January 6, 2021 attack on the United States Capitol by supporters of Donald Trump began in Washington yesterday. Americans on the street outside the White House spoke about the televised coverage of the hearings and hope they will lead to a better understanding of what happened and who was responsible. The Congressional Committee investigating the U.S. Capitol riots kicked off the first of 6 public hearings with graphic videos and chilling testimonies from witnesses laying out a case against former Republican President Trump. The committee presented videotaped testimony showing that close Trump allies, including his daughter Ivanka, rejected his forced 2020 election fraud claims.
It was just horrific, and it just boggled my mind that that would be in the United States.
And we are thrilled that it is happening, and we've been waiting and waiting for more information. Glad that it's going to be occurring on several occasions that people can get around to see it. I too wonder if it's going to do any good, and if it's not, it's going to scare me for the future.
And I'm sure there'll be more revelations to come. I mean, people are implicit, and I firmly believe that. And I do believe they were attempting to stop the duly elected president from being confirmed. So,
the devil. It was the devil's work. That's all I could see. When I seen that happen, it was the devil's work. Frankly, I would like to know what's going on with it. It's like after it happened, they talked about it for a while and they brushed everything on the rug. Basically, the message they sending, like, it's okay what Trump did, and basically a whole lot of stuff what he did. I'm very disappointed about a whole lot about.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen met with Pope Francis at the Vatican today, discussing the crisis in Ukraine during talks. After the meeting, von der Leyen posted a photograph of the 2 meeting, writing, "We stand with those suffering from the destruction in Ukraine. This war must end, bringing peace back to Europe." The EU chief also met the Vatican Secretary of State, Cardinal Pietro Parolin. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has asked Serbia to join the European Union sanctions against Russia. Scholz said that if somebody was a member of the European Union, they would have to implement the EU's sanctions against Russia. Serbia did not recognize Kosovo as an independent country as the visit to Serbia is part of Scholz's two-day trip to the Balkans, which he started in Kosovo earlier. Speaking alongside the Kosovo Prime Minister Albin Kurti and Pristina underlined that Germany was trying to the best of its abilities to help Western Balkan countries join the European Union. Up next, 1.7 trillion naira made from crude oil sales in 12 months. That's in business news after this break.
And now in business news, a network of young business leaders and aspiring entrepreneurs in Africa, under 40 CEOs, has tasked Nigerian youth to play a more active role in politics and governance in order to address the country's development challenges. The group also called on the government to integrate more brilliant young people into key leadership positions at the national and state levels for inclusive and sustainable economic growth. Speaking recently at a forum organized by the group themed Dinner with Needle Movers, founder and executive director of Africa, Famlusi Babajide, was quoted in a statement as saying that the current estimate shows that up to 70% of sub-Saharan Africa's population is under the age of 30, representing about 806 million of the 1.151 billion people in the region. Figures obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria has revealed that the gap between savings and lending rates in the banking sector widened by 25.33% in March. The latest figure obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria on money market indicators revealed that saving deposit rate was 1.28% in March, while the maximum lending rate was 26.61%. Experts have, however, said that the rate introduced in the market by the banking regulator would discourage people from saving and encourage those with the funds to look for other investment that would yield better returns. Now, Nigerians traded at least 77.75 billion naira worth of Bitcoin in the first 3 months of the year, despite the Central Bank of Nigeria's restriction on cryptocurrency. The transaction in the country, this is a 5.71% increase from the 73.54 billion naira worth of Bitcoin that was traded in corresponding period of 2021. According to data made available by Pixful, one of the major peer-to-peer cryptocurrency platform in the nation, trade from Nigeria accounted for 25.87% of the total of 300.48 billion naira worth of Bitcoin that was traded on the platform in the quarter under review. Revenue made by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation from crude oil sales in 1 year has been put at 1.7 trillion naira. The corporation's latest monthly and financial report for August said the sum was earned from March 2020 to March 2021 after it lifted a total of 108 million barrels of crude oil within the year at an average price of $43 per barrel. A breakdown of the report shows that in March 2020, the oil and gas firm lifted approximately 9,490 million barrels, 11,437 million barrels in April, 5,113 million barrels in May, and 6,274 million barrels in June, and 8,546 million barrels in July. And that's it in business news. Many thanks for watching. I am Messi Bopo. The news continues.
Up next is entertainment news.
And entertainment comedians Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle have announced a joint stand-up comedy show set to hold on September the 3rd at the O2 Arena in London. The show, which would be exclusive to fans who are 18 years and above, will launch months after both stars were respectively attacked on stage. Recall that Rock was infamously attacked at the Academy Awards by Will Smith over a joke the comedian made about his wife, Jada Pinkett. Angelina Jolie is set to direct Without Blood and starring in the motion picture, which will be Jolie's 5th feature film as a director, are Salma Hayek and Damien Bachir, amongst others. With the production of the forthcoming movie underway, the actress has written and will produce the movie as part of a new agreement with TV giant Fremantle. The movie is based on the book of the same name by Italian writer Alessandro Barrico, and the filming is to take place in the Puglia and Basilicata regions of southern Italy. Britney Spears has married fiancé Sam Asghari 7 months after being freed from a conservatorship that she said had prevented her from getting married. The couple tied the knot in an intimate ceremony in California but got their preparations disrupted when Jason Alexander, who was briefly married to the pop star in 2004, was arrested for allegedly gate-crashing. Ventura County Sheriff's Department said an altercation had taken place with security officers, and Alexander had been charged with 4 misdemeanor offenses of trespassing, battery, and vandalism. American actor Anthony Anderson has agreed to his wife Alvina Anderson's request for spousal support. According to court documents, the actor signed to pay retroactively spousal support to his estranged wife, an amount that would be determined by the ex-couple's joint forensic accountant pending an investigation of their individual finances. Alvina has asked the court to exercise its jurisdiction and make spousal support orders retroactive to match the first or the date of their separation, whichever is later. And that is all in entertainment. I am Ifeoluwa Osunke.
And the main news again. Workers trapped as youth ground FCTA secretariats. Tinubu visit Buhari Oshibanjo orders after primary victory. Navy uncovers illegal crude oil markets in Rivers community. That's the news now. For more stories, please follow us on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. I am Olamide Adeyemi. Many thanks for watching.
It's about time for the biggest entertainment show on the planet, and of course, my name is Ifeoluwa Osunke, and of course, you know how we do it on